I'm here.
Where's first?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like this drive?
I
Crazy, huh?
have a Subaru Forester.
Yeah, those are the best.
It's an ugly little Japanese car.
That's all
I
you
swear
drive?
it's got like toes. You can't make it slide. It does.
I know. We've always had Subarus. My husband still drives a Forester. I had a Subaru Impreza, those little tiny ones. We still have it. It's parked in the side yard right now, like we're in the valley, but it's hidden behind a fence.
You can't beat them. You cannot beat them unless there's 2 foot of snow. They'll go anywhere. They'll climb a tree.
Even 2 feet of snow, they kind of just go through it like a tractor. It's crazy.
I've always had Jeeps.
Yeah.
I mean, I've driven through creeks with water coming in my windows.
And mud and everything.
I mean, I'm used to big trucks, and I miss my V8 terribly.
Really?
But those things are awful on ice. They're awful. They slide everywhere.
Pickups fish
Oh God, they're so dangerous.
I don't know
This
why
thing
there's
is
so
so
many
safe.
here.
It's
Yeah, no,
ugly.
you'll sneak out of a situation. You know, roundabouts. I've been in so many hairy situations where there's someone about to hit me in the back, and I just step up.
Mm-hmm.
You sneak. Right. I'll see them. You just drive a little slower.
Mhm.
That's what I do too. I'm my father's daughter. We never get. It's like sacrilegious around here. We don't like studs. We don't put studs on. We don't get Blizzaks or soft squish things. We just drive the same tires year round.
What are you doing with those?
I just realized that looks really funny.
Gonna make party house.
I true. And I wanted to apologize to you. The other day I asked for a ride for myself. And I don't think I included us as a unit, you and me, when we were trying to hitch a ride with somebody at that,
No, that's
you, and then you spoke up for yourself and thought, oh, I only asked for myself, like I'm a
That's no problem.
single agent here, and I'm
Stupid me thought. That's what I get for thinking.
What?
I thought that we were gonna come back in time for DCE. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be short tour today.
Oh, DCE the other day?
Yes, I thought we were coming back for that.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
crap, now I've got to make up that class.
But you can do it in December still.
I hope so.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll be doing them
Oh, good.
till the
You're
cows
watching your phone. Look at this.
No, not on purpose. Come on.
This is a new one you got? You love it? You got the mom size phone.
I got the one that feels like you're do you remember cell phones went through this period of time where it felt like you were answering like your tablet, you know? And then they were going so small, but
Those little flip ones,
yeah. Couldn't do anything. So my problem is I can't see anything anymore.
I know. That's why I like this big thing, because you can see it.
I want the text keys to get fat finger size.
Yes.
They need to change that crap.
Well, and I can only text with my kids can text with both fingers. I can only text with one.
You text with
I
your
can
index.
text fast, but I can only do it with one.
Correct.
One
I can
index
type
finger.
like crazy. I can type really fast with 2, but it's just too small.
But I can't do this.
You don't
it's
even
too
have
small.
big fingers, Melissa.
I
You have these tiny little hands.
Okay.
I
Hello, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very good. How about you?
It was quite a day. 5 hours.
At GCI?
Oh,
No.
well, you can't leave until the phone. I couldn't leave their Wi-Fi till my phone updated.
Holy
You
cow.
stay there in their umbrella, Wi-Fi umbrella? for that
Because
long?
if you go out, it'll stop updating.
Did you go to the one in Diamond and Victor?
I did, actually.
They're nice there.
They're very nice. I started at the Midtown one because it was right here.
Yeah.
And I had paid, now here's something I didn't know. I paid a monthly fee for insurance,
Yeah.
thinking that I could go in, hand them my phone, and be given a phone. Oh, no. You pay for the insurance. It's $10 a month.
Yeah.
You pay $200 for a new phone, and they mail you the new phone.
We didn't do that.
No, I was
Yeah,
like,
they did.
like, I don't even know. I mean, even if it got here in 24 hours, I'm starting pre-licensing this weekend. You know what I mean?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Let's see. Let's admire them.
Sure, please do. Please do.
You got a little face on it.
Yes.
Is this protective?
Yes.
Okay.
That is what I should have had on it before I left.
And this is the color? of
And
the
I
phone?
wouldn't know. This color is silver.
Silver. Okay, that's nice.
Yes.
That's pretty. I like that. I like that.
But
Kickstand.
but put it up to your ear.
Right.
It is literally like answering almost a loaf of bread.
Well, I have one of those right now too.
Oh, what a face.
I got it 'cause my kids we didn't have them get a phone yet when I got my phone. This is my first phone. I'm just full disclosure here. I've never had an iPhone until 2 years ago,
Okay.
November 15th. So I'm not even 2 years into having this thing yet.
Okay.
So the undue to the cell phone generation.
Oh, okay.
More like your parents.
Yeah.
But we got this because the kids wanted to watch shows on it.
Okay.
And we said, okay.
Sure.
And it's the bigger thing.
Right.
And then my husband said it takes better pictures than the little one.
Right.
Cool.
Sure.
And it does,
That's good.
right?
Good. I don't think
I think the bigger one takes sharper pictures
Nice.
than the little one does. Not that it matters really, but we have that option.
Good. Mine, the other thing that I did not know, and I would tell you this if you have to do it, my phone wouldn't update. It kept saying it wouldn't update and it wouldn't, the iCloud, that I didn't have enough storage on the iCloud. I thought my phone had enough storage, so I thought that was absurd. And I didn't update the iCloud storage.
Oh.
So then the last time it updated was August.
August. And this thing had you updating every 3 weeks, it seems like. So you hadn't updated.
No, what am I trying to say? The iCloud didn't, iCloud backup is different. iCloud backs up everything. So
Okay,
the
so you do that.
iCloud did not back up
You
since
lost
August.
everything?
Correct.
Oh,
So-
crap.
So I thought I bought a phone that had enough storage, but I didn't understand. There's so many aspects of this that you don't
shoot.
think about. So if your phone says you don't have enough iCloud storage, and you give a shit about anything on your phone,
Really?
there's a
Pay for
monthly,
it.
there's a subscription charge.
Oh, poop. I'm not doing an
well,
iPhone.
Well, I don't think you have any other, I mean,
Well, Melissa has a Samsung.
I've got a Samsung. I don't
Galaxy.
have to do that.
but doesn't
nonsense.
it back up to the cloud?
No. It backs up all by its lonesome.
Yeah, that's why
It
people who
doesn't.
like the Samsung, they won't do the iPhone because they don't want to deal with the cloud.
Exactly. No, there's iPhone, products have too many little secret surcharges
My
and
son's like
contracts.
that. He
and-
said you have to be smart to use the Samsung.
I think iProducts are much less user friendly than Samsung. They don't have all the bells and whistles that iProducts have, but iProducts seem to go haywire so often.
That's what my older boy was saying.
Well, when they go off the rails, they
Yeah.
certainly go off the rails, may I say that.
It's crazy. Maybe it's because Steve Jobs passed away and now
Mhm.
everything's messed up.
He's dead?
The
Steve
guy who-
Jobs?
Steve
Yes.
Jobs, yeah.
When did he die?
A couple years ago.
No kidding. Do I live under a rock or something?
Well, you're in Alaska now, so
He had
maybe.
pancreatic cancer.
I did. I remember hearing about that now.
And he's an Afghani descendant. His parents are originally from Afghanistan, a couple generations, so I didn't know that.
But I don't think
Wow.
he had a relationship with his father.
Mm-mm. No.
Why do we know that?
Couldn't watch 60 Minutes one night.
Probably, right? Okay. All right, so I want to kind of go over post-licensing checklist, and I want to see how you're feeling
Oh,
about things.
let's get a notebook out.
Okay. How do you feel about the purchase and sale agreement?
We'd do it if we had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do both of you have the dummy contract that you could use as a,
Yes,
it is,
ma'am.
you have that, okay. Do you understand earnest money? Do you have any questions about earnest
Turn
money?
it in.
Yes, what else? Get it, take it, we want to check.
Right.
Okay.
A check, not gold bars.
Yes, no, dog teams.
No dog tears. Okay.
No. I probably will spend, just so you know, the last week, I imagine spending quite a bit of time on talking about negotiating. So I plan to come back to that. Listing agreement, do you feel like you could fill out a listing agreement
Yeah.
or get it started?
Get started and come ask Teresa. for help.
Absolutely, and of course, you never have to worry, I'm always here to help. I know if you step away from something, I don't want you feeling lost. Very first thing I always will suggest you go do is go pull one of these little packets. And remember, not every document in here needs to be filled out. It's an if-then situation.
Right.
If it applies, then you use it. If not, you don't.
You just need to totally chill and use what you need to use and
Correct.
not use anything else.
Correct. There you go.
I drive around with those in my car,
Good for you.
just in case.
Okay, good. Multiple offers. Do you feel like that we touched on multiple offers? I'll talk a little bit about multiple offers and tell myself that I like to make sure that I go through here and you have.
I have one big question about
Sure.
multiple offers.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
straightforward.
Yes.
Ultimately, the decision rests on the seller, correct? All I have to do is present offers, and they can look amongst all your offers and choose.
Yes, but they are going to rely on you very heavily.
Okay.
So
To advise them.
correct.
Right.
So first, the most important thing is you have to actually do what's called, you have to true an offer offer, and you have to make sure that you're giving a seller a true net
On each offer.
on each offer. So if you remember, I have something up here, I can pull it, that says a $300,000 cash offer is the same as a $300,000 offer with $10,000 with closing
Right,
costs.
right.
Is the same as a 305 with $5,000 in closing
Right.
costs.
Mhm.
They all are net to the seller the same amount of money.
Right.
Which one's the best one for them?
Depends.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cash could be the best if it's the fastest and there's no home inspection. If you're worried about price, the 310 might scare you because we might not get that appraisal.
Okay.
But everything depends on everything. Sometimes the seller likes the cut they like a buyer better.
Right.
Or
Personally, on a personal
on a
level.
personal level.
Mhm.
Sometimes the buyer will write a letter saying, "Oh my gosh, we love your home so much," and sometimes people will pick on that. A veteran might give another veteran a kiss and just choose a VA over another kind of financing type.
But our responsibility ends once we give the sellers the existing
The
offers.
seller at the end of the day chooses. I will
As long as
tell
they
you,
understand all that.
we have a lot of explaining to do when it comes to multiple offers. They have to understand. So that way the time frames of the offer become important.
Right.
And then small things can become important. Like I don't like that the home inspector they're choosing might be objectionable.
And you can just knock that one out just on that.
Correct. Or oftentimes the seller will actually ask you directly, who would you rather work with? Sure.
And you answer.
If you know, if you know,
Yeah.
I like to tell people that I really appreciate the professionals in our industry. I really like the industry we're working with. I haven't actually done a transaction with this particular person before, so I don't blow it up. But I have had transactions, to be honest with you, where if I have the opportunity not to work with that person again, I would take it.
They're just so difficult or dumb or whatever.
Well,
Or messy.
You personally can make a transaction very difficult. So our company philosophy is we want to be the company that everyone wants to work with. I want our licensees to be the best on the opposite side to work with.
I notice it when we go to those broker lunches.
Yes.
Our company, the people here are hands and arms above in terms of kindness
I agree.
and generosity and being nice. I'm the brat new one. I feel like I need to raise the bar. Everyone here is so wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to enter a place where you want to be a better man. You know?
Yeah, right. So I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yes, at the end of the day, it really is the seller's decision. I like to make it a money-driven decision. However, it is not always a money-driven decision for a seller. Like I said, a seller could choose a veteran just because they have also served, and that could be their.
And they just like their face, maybe.
I'm so sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you. Lisa said she's on her way, I think.
Well,
She
gosh,
forgot.
look at the roads and whatnot. It's fine.
Yeah, she was just leaving her house when she texted me.
Not a problem. So contingent on sale, or do you feel like you'd like any other information on multiple offers? Oftentimes, I would like to talk to you about packaging multiple offers. Sometimes what I like to tell licensees is, first of all, there is one fallacy about a multiple offer. You are under no obligation, nor is a listing licensee under any obligation to let you know that they have a multiple offer. There's kind of a fallacy out there that I must tell you that I have an offer on a property. I only can tell you if I have the seller's permission.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, are you talking about if you're the selling licensee?
You're the
for the
listing
bond.
licensee,
Listing licensee.
and then the
So
buyer wants to know.
let's do it this way, okay? So Suzanne has a listing. I'm a buyer licensee. I'm working with you. You want to know if there's any other offers on that property.
Right.
I'm going to call Suzanne. I'm going to ask her. She's under no obligation to tell me if there's another offer on that
Oh,
property.
really?
Well, I had to come up with a way to answer that question. If the seller has told me they don't want to tell, they have multiple offers.
So what do you say?
I'm wondering right now what I should say.
So it would be up to your seller. So I'll give you, there's two sides to this coin.
Yeah.
On some sellers are super excited and proud and they want to drive the price up, and they will absolutely allow us to tell other licensees that we have other offers on the table. I'm going to give you a bad scenario, but it's true. Some licensees lie and say that they have an offer on the property when they don't.
Absolutely.
When they don't.
Sure they would.
That's awful.
We don't do that.
Will we get
not
our
do that.
butts fired if we do that?
I wish, but no. It's a.
Do you know people in this company who do that? You
I
just
can't- I
secretly
can't-
dislike them?
I can't speak to that. I mean,
I'm not setting any names.
No. I
I'm
can't speak to that. I don't, there is you can lead, and then here's another thing that you might hear.
Mm.
I've heard I'm getting an offer. Now, that could be an absolute true story.
It could be.
So if you,
There's so many
or,
gray areas.
well, or like, so our class went out to the property on Ocean View.
Yeah.
But that's the second showing. So the listing licensee, based on it being a second showing, is pretty excited, thinking that somebody is gonna pull the
Track it
trigger.
up. They could fuck that up.
Sure,
into
so
something.
they've had, I've had a second showing. Now, that is Realtor code, so you know, for I've got a buyer who is serious enough to go back to the property a second time.
Second time.
Most of the time, just so you know, a buying signal for a buyer is they want to see the property again, or they want to show it to other people.
Mhm.
I wanted to show it to a group of my professional colleagues.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Did
That
I-
could be a serious sign.
That's a
right?
very, very serious sign.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so oftentimes I'm really careful about what I transmit to the other side. I want to be completely above board and above reproach. Let people know I've had a couple second showings. I believe there's some buyers who have it on their, you could even say, I think I've got a buyer who's got it on their short list. That's what I've heard. And then I'm willing, if they say, well, who is it, Teresa? I'm saying, I just want you to know it's not me or another colleague in my office, but it's a co-broke office.
And that, by saying that, I tells them MYOB.
A little bit nicely, but
Nicely.
it also lets them know that I'm not puffing. I'm
Right.
being very
You're
serious.
being honest, you're
Yes.
being frank,
Yes.
and you're not exaggerating the situation
Correct.
beyond what it is.
And then also you will find that there are some people who kind of have this whole salesy,
I'm related to one.
right, well, just whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, that make you feel like they're not, you never feel like you're pinning them down.
It's too slippery. They're slipping
Right.
through everything you're asking them, saying you don't know where they stand.
But that's okay, but here's the deal. I know where we stand, and this is
Right.
how we handle things. Now, there's a
You don't
couple-
get upset about the
No.
other side being slippery.
No, not my problem. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be one offer that prevails. Now, what we like
You've
to,
seen this so many times.
yes, yes. And it is a sales game, you guys, and it is if there's a real fear for a buyer that a property will be taken away from them for consideration.
They want it
There's-
so bad.
Correct. There's or psychologically, there's something very interesting. Well, I didn't love that house so much, but wow, somebody else is thinking about making an offer. Wow, what did I miss about that house?
And that's that fear of missing out thing.
Yeah,
again.
or kind of like I didn't, Lisa, that's okay. Like, oh, kind of like,
gosh, I didn't think there was going to be this afternoon.
oh, I know, but look at
Teresa's
that.
loading up.
Find the calendar, right, online?
Oh, I'm sorry. We think it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's the fear. Also, I don't know if you ever had this experience. Did you ever have somebody ask you out that you chose not to go out with, but somebody else went out with them, and all of a sudden you got a little bit more interested in them?
Oh.
Or it was like, what did I? We're talking about multiple offers right now. What did I miss?
We're back in high school.
Yeah. What did I miss?
We never leave high school. It just looks a little different.
We never
More
do.
money's involved.
High school.
It is exactly high school.
Can I ride in the popular car?
Everybody wants to be cool kids. Don't you want to be cool kids?
I was Kathy because she's all the cool kids in her car, and she said she didn't have room in there. I almost cried.
Well, you have to make, I don't want to ride with Kathy because she won't let you talk on the phone. Okay? Cell phone's off.
I'm getting a
just
GPS. I'm not playing that game anymore.
No, it's not even that. I'm like, she's like,
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you do not get on your phone in Kathy's car. She will like give
Yeah,
you the.
she kind of chewed up
She's
Hutton
kind of a
one time.
mom. She's kind of a mom like that.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And she is an absolute living representation of old school Jack White real estate.
Oh yeah,
She is the absolute quintessential.
he's old.
Your car will be immaculate at
Yeah.
all times.
Yes.
Your office will be immaculate at all times. Your dress and presentation will be immaculate at all times.
She is.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really, there you go.
She's pretty cool.
So now here's something else you can do with multiple offers. I have seen, and I really appreciate it, online in the confidential comments, if your seller will allow it. We have multiple offers on the property. We are looking for what we call you will hear the term final and best.
Oh, how nice. They
Final
have to put
all
that
the
out.
time in
best.
California
Yeah.
drove me
Really?
crazy.
I'm sorry. We don't do it very often here if you go through the MLS.
It's all the time.
You
the
put
market's
a
so
you
hot.
put a bid in California, and even if it's over asking, they'll come back and say, "Is this your final best?" We are giving everybody the opportunity for their final best.
Final
I'm
and
like,
best.
it's over asking.
Yeah.
You used to make me so mad.
But the truth of the matter is, may I say, you're going to, that is, I'll give you the flip
I
on that,
know.
Lisa. You've met Cammie
The flip side.
Howlett on her first
6.
listing. We had literally 6 bids. Are you ready? 3 written by the same licensee.
Yep, I met that one at the investment class.
Right, yes. So literally, we had 1 licensee write 3 offers on a property, and we had 3 other offers. One of the competitive offers that came in, the buyer did not believe his licensee, did not believe it. When he went and said to him, there's multiple offers on the property. So the guy thought that his licensee was kind of trying to run a scam on him to get him to bid higher.
That wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case. He was so sure that his licensee was scamming him that he actually called the management of our company. And I finally said to the guy, your licensee was offering you something called a courtesy that he didn't have to do, number 1. Number 2, we had not just 1 other offer on that property. We had 6 offers on that property. I'm of no obligation to tell you this.
You're just saying it.
And because he was so insistent that, well,
Did he win the bid?
no, he did not. And he said, but I offered ask and no closing costs. And I said, you were not the competitive winner. And he didn't believe it.
Who's Cammie's listing?
Cammie's listing, but we had a buyer contact us trying to find out whether or not their licensee had been accurate and honest with them. And their licensee was accurate
Licensee
and
was
honest.
here or some
No,
other?
another company.
We called
But a
here?
buyer, well, a
That's
buyer
funny.
was so, well, they were thinking that
So
they're,
curious.
well, no, but I mean, if you were a buyer and your perception was your licensee didn't work with you or didn't tell you something correct, his problem was he thought his licensee was jacking him up to get him to write a higher offer. He couldn't comprehend that really there were that many offers
Because
on the
Alaska
property.
normally
Well, I think getting 6 offers on a property is pretty rare.
It's rare.
Hey,
Good morning.
Had unusual
What
situations
the
over
heck?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how did we handle that? We literally trued every single one of those offers. We did a net on every single one of those offers, okay? I mean, and the seller picked the offer that they wanted. And-
What a great
Oh, you're
feeling that must be.
Everywhere.
Exactly what that feels
Right.
like. Having a delay.
Right?
I had 5. We
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So that's pretty unusual. But what you can do is in the confidential remarks, you can write in the confidential remarks, we have received multiple offers. We are accepting final and best offers until 6 p.m. tonight. Or
You like these?
I like that because it would be something that you could literally show your buyer and say, it's right here. And once it's in the MLS, you legally will be held to that. So it's kind of a higher standard, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you would never put that in an offer if it were not true. So for example, let me show you.
But it'd basically only be there for a day in MLS because usually, 24 hours or so.
No, I'll show you. They kept it in. So let's look at this. So remember I told you that my house, the house next door, went on the market and it was a coming soon listing. They had it coming soon for 2 days. They had an open house on a Friday.
On Friday.
On a Friday day,
Wow.
they had an open house. They had multiple offers that day, and it says that it was sold on one day, okay?
That's really cool.
Now, the list price was $345. They got $345 and they paid $1,000 in closing costs.
And look what time of year it was. It's still winter.
Sure.
basically.
But look at the confidential remarks. Multiple offers received, calling for highest and best by 8 p.m. on 3/24. No showings on Sundays. 2 hours notice for showings. Covers and pantries in the garage do not stay. For questions and more information, call Liz.
Wow, that's great.
Do you see that?
Calling for highest and best for 8 p.m.
That sold in one day.
One day.
Because of the
For a number of different reasons.
The coming soon helped.
The coming soon was very, very, it was literally, and
This is great.
we have a little bit of a conflict. Coming soon listings for a number of different years they were actually illegal based on our realtor code of ethics. Coming soon listings are a tool that started to be used all across the country. Our MLS finally started allowing coming soon listings, and there were licensees who were, we call it double ending both sides of a listing by holding properties off the market, only showing them to their colleagues, and then they'd be sold.
And then try to get both sides.
Yes, and the licensee would actually be trying to get both sides.
Creepy.
That's an unethical practice, but allowing a coming soon where you can go look at it, our co-op brokers, having a process, having an MLS, have rules and regulations about it, formalizes the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it precludes
But it helps.
me from trying to double end my own listing.
Make sure you get both ends. Trying to corral it.
Correct.
Okay.
To get all the buyer clients off of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just kind of took over the seat.
But what I really appreciated that this was in that listing. Does that make sense? On a multiple offer, because I can tell you, I believe there was numerous offers on this property. I can't remember if it was 5 or 7, but it kind of
That's the area too.
It's a great neighborhood. It's an unbelievably nice area.
the real truth of the matter is it's very close to the lake and it borders on the Japanese immersion program elementary.
Teresa lives right.
I live right behind.
Her fence shares the school property. And right next door is this garden, beautiful garden property. Yeah, that too.
Well, I'll show you so I can have it.
I've jogged by this place so many times. I've jogged by Teresa's house not knowing it's Teresa's house for
Well,
years.
stop by and have a
Yeah.
cup of coffee.
Now I know where you
Stop by.
Now I don't jog anymore.
People, if you guys, it's really funny. I have licensees. If you guys are, if you do Sand Lake, if you do Jewel Lake, if you do, I'm right by Sportsman's Point.
It's a beautiful area.
So let me show you.
Right off Julie.
So this is this elementary school. This is a path behind my elementary school.
Cool little path with birdhouses all over.
So legit, my house. This is the border, and then here's the. Do you see the lake here?
Sand Lake.
I mean,
You get airplane noise?
yes. But my father was an airline pilot, so I love small planes landing and taking off. Other people, that high-pitched noise really bothers them, to be honest.
I don't
I
hear it
think it
anymore.
would, you get used to it. That's what I
Well,
Or you
no,
get high-pitched damage.
I'm in a landing path. I don't love it.
Really?
I have floats.
If you're on the opposite end, it would
Much nicer.
They're right over your home.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a dude who I've wanted to report to the FAA quite a few times.
Too close to your house?
Well, he lives probably right here. So he legit, look, his landing path is right here, and then he taxis right here. But
It's so annoying.
he buzzes this row of houses right here.
Your house too.
And my house is in the
Like
touchdown.
Yeah,
you know.
right there.
So the
Well,
lake.
it sounds like they're gonna land on your house sometime.
So the idea of being close to a lake, and then behind the there's a path. Do you guys remember there was a very popular fitness trend? It was probably in the 80s. They're doing it now, circuit training, but they would have outdoor circuit stuff.
Yeah.
Park circuits. There's a park circuit right behind here.
Oh,
Nobody
wow.
ever uses it, but it exists. So at this
Yeah.
station, you could do push-ups. At this station, you could do pull-ups.
Yeah.
At this station, you do this.
Yeah.
So that's a circuit path.
Right
Yeah.
there in
I
the,
think they
they have them around
I
town.
have that at Western.
They might.
Yeah.
And then there's a dock.
Westchester has one, lagoon.
There's a dock here, so then people fish off of this all year
Oh, yeah.
long.
If you see the parking lot at
that
Sand
would
Lake
be
School, you see people parked there at the school in the summer, you wonder, what are they doing? The school is closed, they're fishing.
Well, or
Do
have-
you want to eat fish?
Oh my God, no. No.
They probably throw them
They're
back.
stocked. Yeah.
They
No, I
probably
think,
just fish
no,
to fish.
no, there's
right?
also, there's a really bad fish in there too.
Yeah, I remember we had a field trip over
Pike?
there,
Is
and
it
we
pike?
fished out of there, and everybody caught like these fish.
You went to Sand Lake for a little while already?
Yeah, sure, to sound like elementary.
Yeah.
So there's a number of different amenities. Also, there's people who want to be very close to Kincaid Park. There was, prior to, excuse me, a couple of years ago. Coolest Air National Guard base was right off of
Oh, yeah,
Raspberry Road, and people who lived, who had to work at Coolest
Yeah.
wanted to live.
I miss Coolest there.
I do not.
You don't?
No. I don't miss C-130s going over my house
Oh,
at 3
true.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I
Not
kind of
even-
liked it there.
not even
but-
a
So
little.
people on that street then, if they own a plane, they can dock it very close to
No.
the walk to their house?
No, there is a certain strip of homes that have a homeowners association.
Oh,
If
that's
you
the one we
live-
went past?
Correct.
Okay.
If you live on the lake, this lake allows motorized vehicles and airplanes. And many people have docks and they have airplanes
But
here.
not the street. that
But
you're-
not me. I can't dock a plane at Sun Lake. I'm not a member of that homeowners association, and I don't have lakefront access.
Mhm.
I have the same access as anyone in that neighborhood to the lake. I'm just closer to it.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, okay?
Interesting.
So multiple offers, I really appreciate the way that they handled this multiple offer. And I think if I could recommend that you might want to consider this as a practice, I think that's a great thing to do. That way, buyers could legit see that and see that it's real. Now, you have to have your seller's permission to do this. And what's the most important thing for you to know about a multiple offer? You can ask me and I don't have to tell you.
What do you mean by multiple offer, like multiple offers?
Correct.
Same thing.
So here's the strategy, and I want you to understand the strategy. There are some buyers that if you tell them there's a multiple offer on the property, they're going to recuse themselves of that home because they don't want their price to be bid up. Does that make
They'll
sense?
just back out.
Yeah, they'll just say, well, I don't want to get involved in that. You will have a number of buyers who will make offers on properties and they'll lose out and they become very, very discouraged. So then they'll say, I don't want to get involved in a multiple offer. So multiple offers they're very much a double-edged sword. They can increase your opportunity for more offers and they can run the price up. You can also, at the end of the day, end up with no offers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you thought you had 3 offers and then every one of them backed away. Now you got nothing. So there's a lot of folks who you're not going to believe me until it happens to you, but that can happen where I had all these offers and they all pulled back.
That'd be very frustrating.
It's super frustrating. Now, how I like to handle a multiple offer situation is letting everyone know. I like to open it up one time with my seller. I like to do what we call true the offers. Does everybody understand what we mean by true?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that they all have a net. We all know the dates. We all know what's going on. All of the key points of the offer are delineated, and then have the seller make the decision. Okay, but the seller's still going to have to talk out a lot of different options. Okay, that makes sense. And sellers don't always. This is very much a really hard time that I have. Sellers don't pick offers because it nets them the most money.
I'm the most qualified buyer.
Could be the most qualified buyer, but what's the most qualified buyer? Cash? Not
Not
cash.
necessarily.
But here's the difference. I will tell you something. Are you ready for this? People who have cash want a discount, and they want to close quickly. I couldn't be out of my house in 5 days. If my life depended, if I had the band, if I hired a moving company today, they couldn't get me out in 5 days.
No, you've been in
And
house too long.
I don't have any place to go.
Right.
So just because you have cash doesn't mean I can, now if a property's vacant, that's a different story.
Right.
Cash is very, but if somebody's living in the home, cash may be your least attractive Can you believe that? Because
it's
I
too fast.
can't move.
It's too quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would, no, California is crazy. They'd come in with cash and say you can stay in the house for 2 months.
Right.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm serious. It
People
was,
did that?
oh yeah, they still do.
Well, it's
In
such a,
Seattle, probably right now,
I bet
right?
you, and I think Seattle, Portland, there's a many different
There's just
areas.
a few areas, yeah.
Well, and Anchorage could get like that again if we get into a really
Tight
tight
market.
seller's market. Where
Someone
you've
knocked
got,
on my door last year.
yeah,
Said, if you guys ever move,
I've
call
got tons
me.
of people
Yeah,
knocking
your
on my
house
door
for
all the
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
do
got-
you really?
Oh, I've got parents who walk there's a little path. People park there are so many people who have to drive their children. They don't have bus service to this area. This is a lottery school. So there was a family that drove from Big Lake
Yeah.
every day.
Cow.
I know
Drop their
parents who drive
kid.
Eagle River every day to go to Japanese emergency camp. Yeah. We drove our kids. We're supposed to go to Chinook though, so it's not a
Right.
big deal.
Right. Yeah. So
It's
long,
right
but
there.
long story short, there's a ton of traffic.
You
So,
know you can rent yours out if you want.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, then people will park along the street because there's several back paths.
And that church is right there,
Yes.
right, where they all
Full
park.
parking lot
Yeah.
every single day.
Oh,
The church
wow.
allows the parents to park there in the morning, the afternoon.
Correct.
And that bleeds into your street, doesn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll have to go drive around that.
Yeah.
It's a great area.
It's got.
I mean,
this-
I'm sure I've been there. I just don't. You have any eye when you become a real estate.
Well, when you start to
Yeah.
realize amenities that you're not necessarily keying in on, like one of my favorite places in the world is down Raspberry Road. When you get close to Kincaid Park, there's a couple more neighborhoods. I'd drive fast. I'd drive longer to get out there to be off of. I'm trying to remember not necessarily Muirwood. I'm not necessarily.
Oh, like
West Park or Muirwood.
Serenity down
Yeah,
there?
Serenity.
Okay.
I
Right down Raspberry.
Right there.
I would
past-
totally live there
Yeah,
in a minute.
right there.
Plus, and you get past all that crap traffic. And, okay, so multiple offers. You are gonna have to make an offer in a multiple offer situation. You are gonna have a listing where you're gonna receive an offer in a multiple offer situation. Come and talk to us when you're in that situation. I do want you to know, I have some licensees don't know that this exists, so I do want to show this to you. Is that okay? There is a multiple offer form.
Oh,
I hope I hope all of us get to this point where we
Yeah,
have.
of course you will.
I mean, I'm sure you will with your partnership, Brittany, that you're in, right? Have you seen this yet already? No.
So multiple, here it is right here, you guys. Multiple offer notification and acknowledgement. Now, we tried as a group, brokers tried and the multiple listing service tried to provide a form for everyone to utilize when you're in a multiple offer situation. I will tell you this form has not taken fire.
Nobody uses it.
It's rare. It does get used sometimes.
By brand new people.
I'm sure. Well, no, I mean, people can use it, but it is absolutely okay to ask for the multiple offer notification and acknowledgement from another licensee. That's okay. They don't have to do it. I want you to know that. So let's look at this a minute. The above referenced property is involved in a multiple offer transaction. All offers shall be subject to the following. The buyer has, all offers will be in writing. No verbal offers will be accepted. The buyer has the following option. Leave the offer as written and it will be presented as noted in paragraph 3 below. Withdraw the offer and earnest money will be refunded as noted in the purchase and sale agreement. Modify the offer. The selling licensee will deliver the appropriate documents to the listing licensee. This gives you, again, a dead date. So by Friday at 6, everybody has an opportunity to write their final and best offer. Listing brokerages, email, direct phone number. The listing licensee will present all offers to the sellers no later than, again, Friday at 6. The following terms and conditions will be applicable to any offer submitted. Seller shall have the sole and absolute discretion to accept, counter, reject any offer received, regardless of the terms. Again, it's not price that always wins. It might be that you want to offer me cash, but you're going to let me stay in the house for 2 months for free. That might win. Okay. The seller shall have the absolute right to respond, negotiate, and communicate regarding any submitted offer until final agreement or disposition. Under no circumstances shall verbal communication constitute or create an obligation on the part of the seller to sell the property. The problem is sometimes when you are, especially amongst your colleagues, so Suzanne, my buyer will remove their closing costs and they will waive their home inspection. Okay, you need to follow that up in actual documented paperwork.
On the net sheet.
Not on the net sheet. We need to do an
In
addendum
writing.
or an amendment to the
Okay.
bond to the existing offer.
Okay.
But we need to actually do something in writing to make that real, so that then you can't come back to me and say, oh, no, that's not what we said.
And you see that happening.
I'm
That's why it has to be
going to
writing.
tell you that I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of multiple offers are done verbally. Let me just be real.
Really.
Sure. But I'm going to insist that you follow it up with
Well, yeah.
paperwork. Does that make sense?
You have to.
Immediately.
It'd be
If you're
confusing.
buyer or seller, doesn't matter. We're going to immediately follow it up. So you're going to hear me say, did you put that in an amendment? Did you put that in an amendment? Did you put that in an amendment? I'm going to ask you to follow up.
If it's for real, then they will put it in
Correct.
writing.
Correct. But we will do a lot of, with multiples, we will do a lot of negotiating verbally. And the longer your relationship with people and the more you know and trust them, the more you'll do it verbally. Let me be real.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right, because you trust them, you know they're gonna get to the point where they do
Correct.
the amendment
Correct,
though, right?
correct,
And they sign.
Correct, correct.
Okay,
If
good.
Kathy Johnson told me that her
I was
son,
just gonna say
if Kathy
that.
Johnson told me that I won the offer, you know, I'm gonna believe her.
Yeah.
She's a believable person, and that's what we're gonna do. So do you see what I mean? A lot of times it is based on the quality of the licensee and the quality of your relationship to that licensee. Now, some people, they'll tell me something and I don't believe anything. Like, I need that in writing. And if I don't know someone, I'm gonna always ask for it in writing, so that
Yeah,
makes sense.
you don't know.
But I want you to know the realness of it out there, okay? And then, selling licensee will be notified by listing licensee in writing of seller's decision. In the event of an accepted offer does not record, seller reserves the right to solicit new offers, okay? So here's where everybody signs, here's where everybody acknowledges. Now, this document originated in 2012. I almost never see anyone use it. If another licensee asked for this, I would say, if I was a listing licensee, I would say absolutely, because you're not, what they're basically asking you to do is to actually verify in writing that you have multiple offers.
Okay.
That you're not,
Not just talking.
that you're not just talking. And why would you not do that? That is true.
No, it makes sense to do it.
Okay. And then if somebody says, well, but I as a licensee am under no obligation to use this form. So if somebody says to you, yeah, I'm not going to do that, they don't have to. Okay.
It's just extra fluff to them? Or?
Well, it could be because multiple offers start to get real fluid, you don't want to tie yourself down to something. But I do respect and understand that some people, and some buyers need to feel protected and know that there really is a multiple offer on a property. They don't want to feel like you're just BSing. Okay?
Makes sense.
Okay? So this form exists. I don't see it very often, but be willing to use it if you need to.
I can see how it'd be useful while you're proving yourself.
Sure.
People don't know you yet because you're new.
Well, and it just, sometimes you are really in a great position that you get to make business decisions.
Right.
And this could be a really smart business decision. So know that this exists.
So the other agent knows how new you are based on your number.
I know. All I have to do is see your number, right?
Yes.
That's okay though.
That's okay. Yeah, I know.
Take one digit
Before I
off.
went and saw the Fourplex, I think he kind of insinuated.
Really?
Who said that?
Maestrom?
Oh, you told me that. Then it might be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
'cause
it's like, oh, you're brand new.
mine's in the 200s.
Was it Rick Maestrom? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was his
Well, what-
brother Ray. I think his
I
name's
don't know.
Ray.
Rick. Here, what we can
Look at his Maestrom commercial real
A
estate.
lot of former
I've noticed.
they get their license.
I don't have
I don't think he was making a joke. He didn't seem like the joking type.
Is he an old grandpa?
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't do this very often, only once in a while.
The address of the property.
Can you get me anywhere
I
close?
can.
Or even the MLS number?
It was, right here. It's not in there, Maestrom commercial?
But that doesn't mean I have it correct.
Oh, maybe it's not spelled.
No, I think you're going to need the address for the.
He might not be a member to MLS, although you'd think that it would be.
He said he's kind of retired, and that he bought it from the ground. And he's been doing it, and my number's 200 or something like that. But he did meet me there, which was very amazing because he didn't.
But you found the property in the multiple listing service, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and go on, and I will.
Okay, contingent on sale or contingent on close. Let's talk about contingencies for a moment. Do you understand what a contingency is, first of all?
It ain't gonna happen till.
Yes. Contingencies are in, I love Excel. Excel has what's called an if-then function. If this happens, then this happens. This is what a contingency is. It's an if-then situation. So I have to, now, almost every contingency in our purchase and sale agreement is actually in the purchase and sale agreement. There is there are two scenarios that are not in the purchase and sale agreement. So we used to have a mortgage contingency. You used to have to write in the offer is contingent on the buyer getting a mortgage. You used to be able to write in that the buyer had, the offer was contingent on a home inspection. There is almost a page and a half that now covers the contingency of having a home inspection. Does that make sense?
It's in there already.
It's already in there. Used to be, it was the offer, we used to write, offers were contingent on marketable title. You now have a little title section. It used to be that we say that offers were contingent on the appraisal meeting or beating the offering price. So basically the offer had to at minimum come in at the offered price or we would renegotiate. Now we have an appraisal contingency already written in. Does that make sense?
That's nice, because it happens so often.
Oh, so they may be waiting for an appraisal?
Well, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
The house down the street, anyway.
The one that you didn't
Yeah.
get the listing?
The
VMAX
listing. See, that's why I wondered, if they're waiting, what are they waiting for?
It's contingent on something. It could be, yeah. What you might want to do, it's probably contingent on the sale of another property to close, okay? So here's the mortgage contingency is right here, you guys. So new financing is contingent upon, do you see that? That's a contingency, it's written in. Okay, title and survey. This is how we're going to handle title and survey. Physical inspection of the property. We have a page and a half on that contingency. There's the appraisal contingency right there. When people say, I want you to write this in, that I get a home inspection, what do you have to say? What the appropriate response is we actually have a page and a quarter that covers that contingency. And it's in the purchase and sale agreement. It is extremely detailed. And it doesn't, I don't like to see people say offers are contingent on financing, home inspection, title, and that type of thing, because it begs your inexperience, if that makes sense. However, you may have a buyer who insists on you writing that in there. I often show them there. Here it is, it's already covered. However, if they still insist, go ahead and do it.
Again.
You work for them.
You're pretty much doing it again then.
Correct,
Okay.
but just so you know, when I look at that, and I'm the listing licensee, I think some things to myself. So what you might want to do is to express to the listing licensee, I just want you to know that I understand that there's a home inspection contingency. They're coming from another area, they're worried about that. That's a particular hot button from them, whatever. Just let me know why you did that. If you did something that's a little bit
Redundant.
Okay, yes, that's a good word for it.
Okay.
So here's the recording and possession contingency. Okay, and then times of the essence, earnest money, mediation, costs, and then here's our additional terms and conditions. This is where you would write in contingencies. Now, the one contingency that we don't talk about, and it's actually up here where you typically see it, is under the financing. Okay, it says right here, loan approval is or is not contingent on the lease, sale, or recording of a sale of any property. Is or is not, okay? People who are very used to looking at offers know that every single hole or a blank in an offer, our eye goes there immediately. I'm looking to see, is it or is it not? Be careful when you're filling this out. It's easy to click the wrong button. Okay, make yourself go, is or is not. A lot of times, most of the buyers you work with, it is not contingent. And so you're so used to clicking that button, you do it by habit.
Oh, even when it is.
Even when it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they have to sell their other home.
Correct.
Right?
And so we don't want there to be, I don't want there to be a conflict in the contract. I will often stop when you show me offers to review. I'll stop right there and I'll ask you, it is or it is not contingent. That's a really big deal. Okay. Now there's another thing. This is a little bit of a trick. I don't know a different way to say it. There are some licensees who know that it's a contingent offer, okay, that will only click this box. What you are supposed to do when you have a contingent offer is go under the terms and conditions and say, offer is contingent on buyers selling their property located at blah, 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 blah.
This is
listed
right
on.
Hoping that you'll miss it.
Correct.
Oh, yeah,
That
that's
is tricky.
Yeah.
It's same with marking the home warranty box to the seller and not following up with the line item that says what home warranty company, what coverages, etc. Well, we call it the money boxes, right? So when we marked it, the seller to pay for a home warranty. No, it doesn't work that way. From who? What coverages? See what
In
I
that
mean?
case, it's laziness. They just don't.
Well,
have-
it's both. It's somebody's trying to, again, it's one of those tricks of the contract we talked to you guys about. It's contingency is a trick in the contract. So contingents are a big deal. I don't want to wait 4 months for you to sell your property. So right now, if your buyers, let's say on Sahali, had a contingent offer in Prominence Point, waiting for the sale of Sahali, I'm not a happy camper right now. If your listing isn't selling, do you got that? Okay, and that can happen. It also can be, I also could have my house on the market. Now it's contingent on close. What does that mean? There's contingent on sale. Meaning I have to put the property up and I have to get an offer on it and it has to go through.
actually sell it.
Contingent on close,
Means that you already have.
I already have an offer on the property, now it has to go through.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just further along in the process.
Correct. Like I listed my house first and then I went and looked at houses.
Okay.
Which is a better contingent offer if you're gonna make one,
It
right?
is a better,
Because you're seriously
they're
doing
both, I can tell you right now, they're equally shitty.
Oh, because they fall through all the time.
They're equally shitty. A contingent, and
But you would take your home off of the market based on this.
possibly,
And they
might
put it
miss-
for rent. They're not going to do that, are they?
They wouldn't do the rent if they had a contingent offer.
No.
They couldn't.
all I would tell you is contingencies could have a high DFT rate. Could. But every offer has a, so the better you do your homework in the beginning, the better opportunity all your offers have to close. But there can be anything that comes up in an offer that would make you DFT or have a deal fall through.
Like a
Okay.
marriage.
Okay.
Something will
But
happen.
a contingent offer is a higher risk to both parties. Okay, a contingent offer is a higher risk to both parties. Most of us don't love contingent offers. Most of the time, just so and I'm very careful with the words I'm using. Most of the time, a builder will not accept a contingent offer. Will not.
Too risky.
Too risky. Too risky.
Come back and sell your house.
That's right. Yes, exactly. However, I'm telling you right now that builders in our market area are accepting contingent offers. FYI, if you start seeing that sellers will accept contingent offers and builders will accept contingent offers, that is transmitting to you the state of our market.
Are we in
Absolutely.
recession?
No, it's not so much that.
Just
Again,
soft.
people are going to die every day. People are going to get married every day. People are going to buy houses every day. I mean, this
The
is,
builders usually don't do that.
They
And
will
now
not
they
accept-
are.
they are, because
Trying to compete for all.
it's
all the-
harder
yeah.
to sell new construction right now. There's not that much out there, right? And it's getting
Nobody's
very,
buying it.
it's getting very competitively priced. And they have lines, right? They have lines of credit. They have to,
They have to retire. Yeah, that makes sense.
okay. So they have construction loans. They have to pay all the interim financing on. They got to pay all their subs
They're not
every
living
day.
there.
So again, they got to live too. So contingent on sale or close. How do you handle those? You need to write a term in the contract. You need to mark the mortgage boxes appropriately, right? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and then don't be surprised. Now we're gonna go back to the forms. There's a form for that. Is that okay? There's a form for that. Don't be surprised if your seller doesn't ask you for a contingency agreement. There's several contingency agreements, okay? Now you're going to find them under the, so we've got contingency agreement for sale of buyer's property, notice to buyer to remove contingency, notice to seller of removal of contingency. Those are 3 documents that mean different things. Oh, by the way, we use every single one of those. If I write a contingent offer, I want to include that's on the sale of the buyer's property. Okay, don't be shocked and amazed to find out that the listing agreement, the listing licensee asks you for this document. Okay, now what does it say? It says the purchase and sale agreement is contingent on the buyer's property located here. Buyer agrees to list the contingent property. Am I going to allow a buyer to do a for sale by owner?
No.
Why?
No, they don't sell.
8% of properties sell for sale by owner.
Uh-huh.
8. Used to be 20% of our market. Now it's down to 8. That's not very high. Okay, so I'm going to be shocked to say would I accept a contingent offer on a for sale by owner? The answer is no. The sellers, and by the way, what would you recommend to your seller if the property's not listed?
Put me listed.
Well,
Within 3 days.
absolutely not, right? So they have to get their property on the market within 3 days. Buyer reserves the right to continue marketing the property in an active with contingency status in the MLS, advertise and otherwise promote the sale of the property during the life of this agreement. I'm actually taking the property and putting into like a no man's land. 99% of us will not show a contingent listing unless our buyer forces us to. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure. I'm not going to show a pending listing. Why would I show a pending
Because
listing?
it's a waste of time.
Why would I show a contingent listing?
Right, same thing, they.
I want an opportunity to show active listings, because active listings, I can get in there and get in the fight and maybe get it accepted.
So it's magical thinking to show it to them.
Not
Thinking.
necessarily, because not every contingency goes through. And if you're
You're the backup offer.
correct, and if your buyer is insistent, am I going to show the property? Of course I am. Am I going to write a backup offer? Of course I am.
Okay.
Okay, but it's not my first choice. Okay. So in the event the seller received another acceptable offer on the property prior to the removal of the contingency, seller shall notify buyer in writing of his or her intention to accept subsequent offer. Normally, I'm going to tell you, we call this a 72-hour right. We're going to give you 72 hours to get an offer on your property. So watch this. Same property, right, Suzanne? You have an offer on the property that is contingent, okay? And you have now, I call you up and say, I've got another offer on the property that is not contingent. Okay, I can notify you that you have 72 hours to remove the contingency. If you can't do it, I can go ahead with offer number 2.
Right.
If you can do it,
And you
then
take the one that's not contingent, right?
I have to give notice.
Okay.
I have to give them 72 hours.
3
How many days?
3 days.
3 days. They have an opportunity to remove the
And if
contingency,
they
or
don't,
they don't. I get to go with offer number 2. Okay.
I'm
But
still
most
the
likely
seller.
they'll remove
You're still
it
What's that?
because they have to sell it.
Maybe.
Just to get the loan.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
If they lower the price enough, they might be able to sell it. Maybe not. Maybe not. But it makes this seller buyer over here get real serious, and it gives them an opportunity. 72 hours. A lot of times they can meet it. Sometimes they can't. Remember our Hobbit house?
Yeah, did it go? Did it sell?
No. But let me ask you a question. Do you think reducing the price in 72 hours would get you an offer?
No. Maybe, it depends on how low, right?
But you see my point? I mean, you're going to have to find the absolute perfect buyer for that property who wants to have a subterranean Hobbit house.
There's someone.
There
So
is.
have you seen that 10,000 square foot house over? It's right out.
I saw it. 10,000 square foot. I saw.
Yeah.
It was on
Is it the one
MLS.
that's the unfinished one that John Blaine had?
No,
No.
it's finished. There was a family living in it forever in the
It's underground?
40s. No, it's above ground. It's right outside. It's in Perdigan. It's
Yeah.
right outside. Something views, you know, that
Yes,
gated
yes,
community,
yes.
It's right outside that. And we're gonna have over there types on it because you're gonna need a really specific one.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like, it's a crazy.
And
house.
literally price won't matter. I mean, there's just some properties that price won't matter. You know what I mean?
It's just too
You-
strange.
Well, you just have to have the buyer, or that. Do you guys know the Dr. Seuss? Have you seen the Dr. Seuss house?
It's crazy.
Okay, that's in 72 hours. I probably can't get a buyer. See what I'm saying? Now, for just a regular average Joe house in the neighborhood that maybe is priced a little high, if I drop it 20, can I maybe get an offer on it? Maybe, right? How about if it was Thanksgiving? Could I get an offer on Thanksgiving Day? Maybe. Okay. So that's the contingency. Buyer may, at their option, remove the contingency anytime prior to this agreement terminating, giving them notice. Upon written removal of the contingency, buyer will attach proof of the ability to successfully complete the transaction. I have to go back to my bank and get a new 90% letter when there's a contingency.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Once
That
it's
proves
removed.
that the lender is telling you they've removed that contingency to process the loan. Does that make sense?
Put a new
Okay.
letter.
So then I've got a onesie twosie process. I have to fill out this document. Okay, now, and then to notify the bot, to notify the seller, right? And sorry guys. Okay, so I'm notice to buyer to remove contingency. I've got another offer. You have 72, this is my 72-hour notice that you got to remove your offer. Fill that out. Now, then there's the opposite, you guys. There's the notice to seller that I'm removing the contingency. This is the document where I've had my house on the market. I've got an acceptable offer on it. It's going to sell. I'm
This is the
letting,
one that we give to Melissa.
this is the one that Melissa and I give to you,
Okay.
letting
I'm the
you know
licensee.
that
Okay.
she has an offer now on her property and we've removed the contingency and we're going forward.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense? Now, makes all the sense in the world where I'm sitting here showing you the forms,
Yeah.
and then when you actually get in the situation, what are you gonna,
That's what I'm worried about.
okay? Well, then what you do, and may I always ask you to do this first. Always when you're in this situation, stop for a moment, read the title of the form, maybe read the form itself, then come talk to me, okay? Because instead of just freaking out, actually go through it because it's very logical.
Try to understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Remember, you did go to school.
Right.
You
And then
know how to read.
here's the money boxes again, because based on my offer, some of these things might that make change based on the offer.
Those right here.
I'm notifying you, the buyer from their property. Here's what I want: a revised pre-qualification letter, copy of the contract on the contingent property with an acceptable pre-qualification or other. Typically, I'm not going to show you a copy of the
Yeah, I thought
offer.
those were dates until I saw the 43.
No,
Okay,
here's
never mind.
dates here. Look. Oh, these are the line items.
Okay,
Page
that's
1, line
enough.
25.
Okay.
Page 2, line 6. Page 2, line 14.
Okay, now I get it. When I saw 43 and 46.
That's okay. That's
43
okay.
days in a month?
Interesting to know that that's how we can read it. But if you want to know, these are your money dates right here. These are all your money dates. These are all the
Money
dates in your contract that you need to meet.
These are
On
all
page
money?
1,
Okay.
verification of cash for all funds off. Okay. So any of these things, you want to fill that in and get that over immediately. Why do I want to remove the contingency as quickly as possible? If I have a contingent offer for a buyer. My buyer has a house they need to sell. That's a good problem to have, kids. That means I get to list their house in order for them to buy this house. That's a 2-for-1 or
But
a
it's-
BOGO. That's a BOGO payday.
Buy one,
Buy one, get one. Okay, we like these a lot.
You offer them so that they don't go with their friend. Or something. I'm just making that up, right?
Yeah, what do you see happening with this?
Here's what I would tell you. You want to be very careful in this situation to offer a reduced rate. If they want to discuss a reduced rate with you, that's a conversation to have with them. None of your liability goes down. You could, at the end of the day, end up with nothing. And then you have a listing where you've got a reduced rate. You have to be careful about tying things together. Remember antitrust. I'll list with you if you give me a reduced commission.
That's not legal.
Well, I mean, hang on. We're not supposed to be incentivizing listings.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But rates float on the open market. Obviously, if you've capped, you can offer it. You have a much more of an ability to change your commission structure. If you haven't capped, you have to have permission from your broker to reduce the commission. Remember,
that saves you some heartache.
that saves you some heartache. And oftentimes, what I see is sellers don't actually even ever ask you for that. You just say you're so anxious to get the listing, you're offering concessions that you might not need to offer. A lot of times, when somebody really, really, really wants a house, they're going to list the house with you.
Yeah.
You're just nervous that they're not.
Because you're standing right there ready to go.
Right. I'm not. But in the event where somebody says, "Well, I'll let you be the licensee on my buy," but come and talk to us because there's, not necessarily are you going to reduce the commission. Now, what I might do, here's how I've always done it. Are you ready? If there is another transaction now or in the future, or if I think this person is going to become a rainmaker for me, yeah, maybe I might consider that. But you have all the same liability. The other thing that I notice is people have become very resentful of reducing commissions because the work, the liability, all of those things are exactly the same. You could also have a business policy where the answer is no. You could also have a business policy where the answer is, of course, yes. If you purchase a house for me as long as it has a 3% commission, right? As long as, then I would be happy to work for you for 2.5% on my list side.
Yeah.
But instead of doing a 5% listing, just do a 5.5. Does that make sense?
So the other licensee,
Still gets the 3%.
otherwise they could get, yucky.
See what I mean?
Mhm.
I'll take the hit.
Mhm.
But every single one of us who works with buyers, thinks that you should fight. You know what I mean? Okay. All right, I need to give you guys a break. Good God, I could go on forever.
Got energy.
Ooh, right, coffee. Coffee.
I might have more coffee today. It's always risky to do that before coffee. You doing coffee, Brittany? You do? You're so calm.
Yeah, coffee. I could drink like 3 cups and just go to sleep.
Really doesn't.
You mean right before you go to sleep? That'll change.
I used to be able to do that. I
loved it. I was just, it didn't never keep me awake. Now it does.
In Europe,
If I
people have
drink,
coffee
like,
with
Red
dessert.
Bull, then I'll be really.
Red Bull's gross. It's sugar. Yeah.
Do
you think the sugar-
Yeah, sugar-free. Sugar-free Red Bull.
They just overload it with caffeine, though, right?
No, not necessarily. It has as much as a Mountain Dew, but it has all these other B vitamins and.
Is it nice? Is it good?
I don't know.
Not good for you. It gives you kidney stones. My dad had a bunch of friends who would drink it every day.
A boy or a girl? Oh gosh, if a boy, I feel sorry for boys who get flu.
I wonder why it causes kidney stones. What's in it?
There's taurine in
Kidney stones? I never knew that.
Gotta do a cleanse to get all that stuff out of you.
I need to do a cleanse to get.
Just to do a cleanse.
I haven't done one since 2013, for a long time.
it. I've never
How long
done
do you
one.
do one?
I did it for almost
3 days?
I did it for 10 days.
You did it for 10
But I did a gradual thing where I eliminated stuff
Uh-huh.
first week, and then the 3 days I did an actual fast. And it was tough,
You've never done a cleanse? Or a fast?
but I haven't done it in a
Tired
long
sometimes.
time.
So you don't have to. Well, it kind of makes you feel better though. My girlfriend swears by them. She
Right
does
now is a
one
hard
year
time
or
to do it.
something. Yeah.
Winter is a hard time to do it because you don't want to be eating lettuce and cucumbers.
Well, there's a
in
bunch
winter.
of doctors who really believe in them, and there's a whole bunch of doctors who
That
say
don't.
they're absolutely.
They're bad for you.
Yeah, yeah. Which ones do you believe?
You have
I
to
don't
follow
know.
your body.
Well, I mean, I like to see, like, sometimes you look at the funniest thing, have you guys, like Dr. Andrew Weil?
Dr. Weil, yeah.
Dr. Weil?
The guy with the big beard.
Yeah. You look at him and
You fast?
well, I know exactly. He's like, well, you might want to have turmeric for all this stuff. And you're like, dude, he looks like a little tubby Santa
He
Claus,
has
you
a
know?
total beer belly.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
a beer drinker, I know it.
But I mean, I always look at him and be like. But then you look at Dr. Oz and
Yeah.
he
Skinny mini.
yeah, and then he has all these crazy supplements that other doctors say are
Carcinia gamboja. or
totally
whatever. Yeah.
crazy. So then what do you do?
Well,
Yeah, I
that
know.
must be his genetics.
That's what I know. I totally agree. But one guy is like the kind of the master guru of naturopathy health.
Yeah,
The other guy he's a surgeon.
the
But
TV guy.
He offers all the the supplements at Fred Meyer. The other guy.
Yeah. Turmeric.
Yeah, turmeric. It's so funny. I look at that, and then of course there must be you. What do you think of vitamins?
Supplements.
The last study that I read,
Yes.
20% of supplements of the people took in this study, okay? 20% of the supplements that they ingested every day unknowingly were toxic to their liver and were doing damage.
I would bet.
They are not regulated like drugs.
Correct.
Until they kill a lot of people,
Right.
you are a lab rat.
Right.
There is no standard. They can put in anything they want to. They can say they put anything they want to on the label.
Sure.
It is a lie. It is a money-making scam from hell.
Okay.
That's where I stand on
Okay.
vitamins.
That's your
What do you think about
But I took
vaccinations?
magnesium and my cramps went on.
For babies,
Powder?
absolutely,
Okay.
they need them.
Yeah.
Good.
For the flu vaccine, when there's 1,000 strains in it, yeah.
Four.
Yes.
And a citrate, maybe. And it helps.
Do you get a flu
Yeah, I know
shot?
you're
No.
low on magnesium, so
They're
everything
four.
seizes up.
Okay.
There are millions of flu viruses in the world that are going to hurt you. Four's not going to make any
You don't
difference.
have to.
But that's just my
Yeah.
opinion. When there's a diabetes vaccine, yes, and we might live to see that day.
Really?
Heck, yeah,
Oh, I would love that.
Magnesium
I
is
would-
Just
We-
not like that.
we might live to see that day.
I could bathe in it sometimes.
You Yeah,
Oh,
she's an
really?
actual pharmacist.
Yeah, my dad's not.
Correct. I also have my sister, we call her Dr. Patty at my house.
Does she take supplements?
Oh, she's like, you'll say, I have a pounding in the back of my knee. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go and you need to get this oil and you need to go get this supplement. You need to take this stuff and you know,
Naturopath? Does
yeah,
she
yeah.
do
Oh, she's
naturopath?
she's a self-diagnosed. She's an encyclopedia of WebMD.
Nice to have one person in the family you can talk to.
Well, she is not a doctor.
She's a realtor. She's a realtor.
I did make that clear, didn't I? So, Dr. Patty is a quack. Okay.
I won't tell her you said that.
Oh, she hears me say this all the time. All right, Dr. Patty.
I take vitamin C a lot. Hopefully it's not filled in
Well,
China.
I hope kidney stones don't run in your family. Good.
I take fiber. You take fiber? Yeah, I take psyllium husks here and there too. You know, it's the same thing, Metamucil kind of thing. Yeah. My husband and I had this debate. If you take it, well, you need to take
But
it
I'll tell
then.
you one thing they always
No.
describe is like the Prilosec, the
Antacids.
the acid reflux drugs.
Those are so
And
bad.
you know, now, looking back, since for like 10 years, that's been changed to the standard of therapy. If your stomach is ever upset, you need to be on something like Prilosec, Nexium, things like that. Now they're finding out that a fourth of the people who take those for more than 5 years develop kidney disease.
Yeah.
Oops.
Really?
Bad
I'm
one.
so
Oops.
glad that I did not.
Yeah, you don't
She
do
prescribed
that.
it,
It ruins
and
your-
it doesn't really do it.
It ruins your esophagus. Whoa.
People who are on
Antacids.
not antacids.
Acid indigestion.
Yeah, when
that-
you have acid reflux.
Acid
that
reflux.
hurts your esophagus because of throwing acid up in your throat.
If it's bad enough, not just because you have it
They
once in a while,
diagnose
does not
it
mean your
over,
esophagus is rotting away.
And you don't need Prilosec.
No, you do not.
They diagnosed me with it, and I didn't know.
And you might need to change your effing diet.
Yeah.
And don't eat a big
Acidic
piece of
food,
ginger
right?
before you go to bed.
Yeah, mine just had stomach aches mostly from stress, I think.
That could be
Yeah, I
too.
was stressed out. Oh, yeah, it gives you stomach aches. Oh, they took my gallbladder out too.
I just can't believe that still, Lisa. You got that out.
There's a doctor who there's a medical and she can speak to this better than I can. That gallbladders and well, it used to be appendix, right? Appendix and your tonsils. Yeah, just get it out. And now it's all of a sudden why is gallbladders? Everybody I know is getting their gallbladder out.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Because
We're
they
too-
had
we're
the
too
same
young. That's
grant,
an
they
old
needed
person's
more
thing to
money,
do.
that's why.
Not us.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Hey Siri.
the
this is
fourplex, Teresa was on Mayfair,
I love
Mayfair
Mayfair.
Street,
I love Mayfair.
fourplex.
I love Mayfair.
that's
It's
our
a nice place.
neighborhood again.
Yeah, they just redid the streets, and the one that, Maestrom was at is the new, or not the new one, the higher price one.
It is not Maestrom, it is Metcalf. The wrong guy.
They're easy to mix up because they're a long time political.
That's why, because they're both political.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Metcalf. He's a 200 listie. He's the one that said it. And his name is Ray, not Ron, Ray Metcalf.
Ray Metcalf.
Metcalf Commercial Real Estate.
No, that guy I know.
You know him?
Oh yeah.
What do you think of him?
He's notorious.
It was not very nice.
Notorious.
He seemed like he was kind of this, right? That's all. That's all I can say. I don't know if
He's
a
older
good or-
now. Has he mellowed? perhaps?
He just made it
No.
known that he was so much smarter than I am.
He's the biggest ego
And I was
ever.
like, whatever. You know.
You
The owner
so
was really
sure
nice.
you are.
Sweet as that.
I have somebody like that
There
right
you
now.
go. Yeah, so yeah, that's the 200 dude. Yeah. He let me know what his number was. It's 250, so that tells you how long I've been in this business. I go, really? Because I never see your signs.
You said that? Good for you. Good.
That might have pissed him off a little. 'Cause
Good.
I don't ever see
He's
his
shy.
sign. right? Ego men, you have to knock them down a little bit here and there. I love knocking down old
And I did it
men.
very innocent because I don't see his sign. That was the first time I've ever seen
Oh, really?
that
I've never
sign.
seen your sign.
I was totally innocent when I said it, but then I thought, that was a good one, Lisa. No wonder he didn't like me.
Well, don't be a jerk. He works out of his house.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Yeah, he works out of his
Teresa's
house.
nice.
What's his number, 210? Or no?
That's his brokerage number.
Oh, okay.
Let's be real. Everybody slow your roll.
It is a nice place, but yeah, I'm not sure the
It's way
price.
too high.
The price is too high. They started at $615.
That's what I'm saying, too high. He's used to sell for $250,000.
Oh, well, you know, the guy owns it free and clear. He's retiring. So I don't, you know. The guy built it, the guy that owns it now. Metcalf, gosh, Nystrom Metcalf.
Well, you notice we all asked, oh, you mean Rick Mystrom? And Rick Mystrom was actually licensed.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
Just so
so many former mayors who are licensed. Have you noticed that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, real estate is a great way to know your community,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Right.
So real estate and politics kind of go, and then, eminent domain and those
Yeah.
type of things. They're kind of a hand in glove.
Right. So it makes sense for
Zoning.
them along
Sure.
the way to get
Yeah.
their license. Yeah.
So this place's roof needs to be replaced within a year or two.
Okay.
And they won't make any concessions on that.
Hmm.
They say, well, then you're just gonna we'll raise the price and we'll roll it into the loan, but we're not gonna come down.
Well, as you notice, the market is rejecting your price.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How's that working out? for you? The market is rejecting your price.
It is really nice though. He did some nice updates to it. And I think that's what his offer was. It was the other person asked for a roof and they said no. And they watched him walk away.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Sometimes I wonder how you're feeling today.
Right.
Now, here's
Right.
something that I'd like to see you guys never do, if you don't mind. Do not include the owner's information on here so that somebody,
Oh,
including a
yeah.
buyer, could go around you and contact them.
That's a good idea to do.
Well,
Not do.
No, but you do.
Oh.
For me, with the guy.
Oh, you're gonna go look now?
No, email the owner. So,
So, what did? It was overpriced. And it needed a new roof, completely new. It was original and it was built 33 years.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, yeah, so, but I think it was for the person that's looking for a foot deal. This may be priced, Teresa thinks it's a little overpriced, but it might be priced okay. That's not a deal. But you like the area there?
I love this area. I
Yeah.
actually love these fourplexes.
They're
I
nice.
love these fourplexes. I
The,
think
the
they're such
top
a,
ones
yeah,
have
the
the
huge,
ceiling.
yep.
Again, great area.
Really nice. Yeah, in fact, there's one right next to it that's for sale, 10,000 less. It's identical.
Green.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's on the
Did you
market
see
a
it
lot.
or something?
No, it's just on, I just see a for sale sign in front of it,
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah.
every few years.
Yeah, it is green. And then the one next to this one is gonna go up for sale in a year and a half. Oh,
Excuse me, guys.
No worries. But we do. And then did you see, one of the things is, did you ask for, if he's so wonderful, did you get an APOD?
I did it April.
You did one. And what, based on the information in his listing?
It 5%. It was
Mm,
not great.
no. And what, are they a investor or are they an owner occupant? What's that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I think
Gotcha.
it is, he's getting quoted as an owner occupied, but I think he's an investor.
Gotcha.
But
And then
what do you do
so
in that
then,
case? Yeah.
You know,
Oh, the
That's-
tax value is 612.
Yeah, they say that, but the one right next to it's not. I don't know how they got that 612 when the identical building is not 612. I'm not
probably
sure.
because, remember, sometimes people report actual,
Oh, sales, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, this guy hasn't never sold it though.
that doesn't mean that fourplexes around there, the buyers didn't report
Okay.
what it sold for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You can look and see what they use for assessment too. Oh, no, you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to go
Under
into
Muni.
Yeah, so it was nice, but it wasn't
And I'm gonna tell you that rents are softening and coming down. So,
1,200.
so if you look in 2015, rents, it was at 534. And the next year, look how high it jumped.
Oh, wow.
You see that?
Where did they come up with this asking price?
They came up with it off of the tax value. There's a 612.9,
And they started out at like
616,
or-
615. And these do not have carports, correct? They only have,
This one has
I think
carport.
oh, it does. Oh, okay, this one has carports. Okay, that's
That's
an
why it's,
improvement.
that's why it's extra.
That's an
Yes,
improvement.
yes.
Because most of these do not have carports, they only have open parking.
It's in the back. and it
Oh,
doesn't-
interesting.
Yeah, you drive around the back and there's the carport.
And for a renter, a carport in this area is a big deal. Some of the fourplexes have them and they rent well. Some of them don't, and they rent well as well. But this is what I like about this area is this is kind of like multi-unit heaven, which makes it easier to rent and to sell. Because it's fourplex and
Yeah.
multiplex heaven.
He said that he actually used his rent to $1,200 so that he'd be $50 under the guy next door, but he has a carport and he has a nicer place. So he's always fully rented,
Mm-hmm.
whereas right next door it's full rent.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a good. If you're
Well, the real truth of the matter is, let's just be real. Every multiplex owner is going to rent their property for as much as the market will bear.
that's true. They'll come down.
Correct.
Right.
Because, I mean, I've had people negotiate with me on rent. You know, if so, how would you be willing to, and I could either be like, yes, I can, or no, I can't. So
Now they're really the top units.
I really like those, yeah, I really like
They're
those top units. And even the bottom units are nice.
Yeah.
Are there pictures?
I can certainly will.
Yeah, there should be a few photos because he said one person moved down. We took photos.
What I never understand, to be honest with you, is because you should have a move in and a move out, you should have units. I don't understand why more multis don't have photos of every single unit. But these were all kind of built like with these kind of same cabinety cabinets. They were very neutral and they've kind of stayed neutral. So they're not really, they don't ever kind of look dated. The weirdest thing about them is they've got these fireplaces in the middle of the room.
Yes, they do.
But that does separate out one side from the other. And these are, I think, all 1,200 square feet or 1,000 square feet.
Yes, they are.
That's a nice size for a unit.
I've been in
Very
these
nice.
before.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
like them a lot.
Yeah.
I hate these fireplaces in the middle, but
Yeah, that is a weird thing, but
people like them.
for an apartment to have a fireplace is unusual.
And they have washer and dryers in normally.
Well, one of the ladies in this particular thing has been there for 24 years.
Wow. She still wants to stay.
Yeah.
A
Well,
girlfriend
they're-
of mine lived in one of these when she was young.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when we were young.
I've had many, many, many friends that lived in in
There's
one of
like
these.
5 of them there.
Yeah, but I particularly like this setup. First of
This
all,
one right here?
yeah, because
It has
you
a
have a
nice
common
yard.
area, it has a yard, and the apartments, believe it or not, because of that hallway separation, they're quieter.
Right.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
Because you don't have every.
yes.
You're
There's
only
that-
sharing with the one above you.
Yes,
basically.
correct. Correct. Now,
Okay.
obviously, if this dude is playing his drums, I'm sure it's miserable for all, but
Mhm.
the idea is it is a little bit quieter.
The decks are nice.
So, yeah, and then there's another, if you get on Mayfair, there's some that have like they're fourplex that all of them have French doors. Those are very nice as well. There's a couple styles that were built here. And this was kind of the Renaissance age, you guys, of fourplexes, whatever year this was built. 84, 84, like the 80s when fourplexes were being built, they were actually nice sized, nice lots, bigger. I mean, not too shabby.
Yeah, this is just before the economy crashed when they built these, or was it during?
Well, the economy had crashed twice, right?
The little one and then the big one. Right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's almost a 12,000 square foot lot.
yeah, it is.
And
So
it's big.
very, it's kind of that absolute perfect, it kind of fits perfectly where someone can live there longer term.
Mhm.
It has enough amenities where you're not being forced out because of crap area, the apartment being too small, the amenities aren't there. So every single one of those apartments having their own, there's no shared laundry, right?
Nope.
So that's a big deal.
They all have their-
And then that's an
They're
amenity,
not bad either.
correct,
They're big ones.
full size.
Full size,
If you were young, would you live there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was on
Yeah.
Plus the area is nice,
If you
only 12
need to go to Freddy's, it's right there.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so contingent on sale or close. Do you guys feel good about that? Okay, buyer brokers, who is going to put buyers under buyers representation agreements?
I'm going to next time I have an opportunity with this guy.
And can I tell you something? I think you should feel 100% comfortable asking the question. The worst you can get told is no,
Exactly.
and you can still work with someone. I had a challenge for one boot camp class. I said, why not ask? And if they say no, ask if you can still continue showing them properties. What you find, what I will tell you is there's a number of licensees who always do a buyer broker agreement or buyer's representation agreement, and what they just tell buyers is this is my business, this is my standard business practice. You are allowed, and I will encourage you to set up your standard business practices that you do for all people. That way, now, does that stop a buyer from going around you? No. But does it help you? Yes.
I think it does.
Yeah. I'm not listing a house, and I'm just going to tell you something. I'm not listing a house without a listing. Why would I drive around with a maybe
Yeah.
for 20 showing 30 and 40 and 50 homes?
My girlfriend did, and
He did that and then
they
they
went
went
and got stolen. Yeah. Because the other agent did a courtesy show
and then just grabbed it.
grabbed it.
But here's the thing: if you don't tell people how you're paid, if they don't understand,
Yeah.
everybody thinks you work by the hour. They think you have a salary. Well, it's not, because it's how they get paid. So why would you get paid any different?
I guess they've never sold a house.
Correct.
But yeah.
They have no idea how you're paid. They have no idea how you're paid. Why would they think differently? If you really, so I mean, most people, I mean, some people who are more savvy, they know. Other people don't. And by the way, some people, they're living in their own world. They're not thinking about you at all. They're just looking to get, like, I just want to get into the house. You're the person I'm working with. They don't so I want you to think about car lots, okay? When I go onto the Honda car lot, what do I think I can buy? Whatever's on that lot.
You just want the car. You don't care who helps you.
Not just that, but I don't know that we can sell any car in Alaska. They don't understand that. So when I go to Fred Meyer, I only buy Fred Meyer stuff. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Safeway doesn't come and bring the rest of the stuff on my list to me. If I go to Costco, I buy Costco stuff, right? You have to understand how people's mentality works. So this is your opportunity to tell people how you're paid.
Yeah.
That you are Amazon. We used to say eBay. Does anybody use eBay anymore?
Not much.
I don't think so.
Been about 10 years.
Yeah, I don't use eBay
Too
anymore.
many scams and too many, yeah,
They
Um,
can build a
pain in
bit.
the butt.
What is a backup offer? Anybody want to know what a backup offer is?
And one's contingent.
Not necessarily. Nope. Contingent means I have to do something.
Oh, okay,
What's
any
a
offer.
backup offer?
Any. It's not the winner.
When you whip out when the first one doesn't go through.
A backup offer.
Basically, that simple.
Is there a form for it?
Yeah, of course. There's a
Oh,
backup
there's a
agreement.
backup agreement form.
So let's say you were in a multiple offer situation and you were told that you were not the winning bid. You could ask if you could go into the backup position.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
This would be a backup agreement.
So it's like the wait list, sort of.
It's almost like would an option be something you understand? An option agreement? This is an option agreement. If if the first offer DFTs, then my offer will move into the first position. By the way, if your buyer is heartbroken because they lost their multiple, ask the listing licensee if you can be in the backup position. A lot of us will say yes, but in order to actually formalize it, you have to do the document. Does that make sense?
And so you ask the listing licensee,
Can we be in the backup
Okay.
position?
and they can say yes or no.
Your buyer has to want to. Okay. But by the way, your buyer, that bless you, that gives you an option on the property they're in love with. And you guys, this is kind of a,
You can still look.
well, it's kind of like ice on a burn, okay, or ice on a bruise. What it allows your buyer to do is to go know that there are other properties available out there. Oftentimes they'll find a different house that they like better or more, or a new house will come on the market. They'll withdraw their backup and they'll go purchase that. But it gives them, I called a backup offer. It puts the buyer in the driver's seat when they really feel like they've been hijacked. Does that make sense? It gives them a sense of control, a feeling of empowerment.
This thing.
This does.
Okay.
But when you've lost the house of your dreams and you're devastated, if you can get a backup, that means that's a chance. That means there's a chance, right? There's still a chance. And then it allows you to go look at other properties, okay? I love backup agreements. I will tell you something. My broker does not love backup agreements as a matter of course.
Does he see them go?
I don't
haywire?
know. I don't know, but all I'm telling you is I love them. I've won a couple backup agreements for a house that a buyer really, really, really loved, and it DFT'd, and they were able to purchase it. Those buyers loved me. I was willing to do it, and it allowed me to keep working with them and try and find them a suitable property that they would be as happy or happier with.
That seems a nice thing to do.
And then
Gives
you
them
would,
assurance.
once you do find something,
You would
instead
withdraw.
of you put
Withdraw. You withdraw the backup first.
with
With the, yep, and then you withdraw the backup, and then you write the new offer.
first before the other.
You always have to withdraw the backup, right? I gotta
That's what I
get you,
thought.
I gotta
Yeah.
get you out of one before I get you in another.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes, I need to withdraw the backup offer
Why would you do that?
because you have to end this, because a backup is a contract. You have to end this contract in order to get into another.
And you would do that if you want to make a new offer?
On a different house.
So let's
On a
say,
different
let's,
house,
correct,
okay.
yes. So let's say you had an offer, you missed out by just $1,000 on this property and you're devastated. And I'm going to say, how about we ask the listing licensee and the seller if they'll allow us to be in the backup position? So there could be something that goes wrong with this offer. That means you're in first. Okay, and you're like, oh my God, yes. But in the meantime, let's also go look at other properties in case
Just
that
in
goes
case.
through, in case that goes through. You find Alex's house, it's superior in every way. You can't wait to get out of this one. I'm going to withdraw you out of this one and write an offer on that.
Gotcha, for a different house. Okay.
Yes.
So if you have a backup offer on a house
Mhm.
and the original deal falls through so that you're now in the primary position, do you have to withdraw the backup offer or do you just go from there?
If the property closes, your backup ends,
Okay,
done,
right,
because you didn't get it.
right.
So
What if the deal falls? What if the
What
deal
if you
falls
get it?
through?
Do you have
then
to
you
write
move,
another?
then you can move into the first position.
Do you have to withdraw the backup offer or is that
No,
It's still in play.
no,
it
no.
is-
Basically, it goes into what we call, your offer would now move into first position.
Okay, so it just changes position.
Correct.
You don't have to.
You
Double
might
away.
have to, I will tell you, you might have to go in and adjust dates.
Okay.
The buyer may or may not, so can we walk it out a little bit? So let's say there was an offer on that Alex had an offer on Suzanne's property and he was in the first position. Most likely he went and got a home inspection on that property. Most likely they negotiated repairs. Okay, that's your next logical step, right? So you might want to take a look at that home inspection. You might say one of two things. Oh, shit. There was something really big that came up on that home inspection. Now you can negotiate that with the seller. You could choose to, at the same circumstances. So just because, I'm here to tell you, that just because a big thing comes up on a house doesn't mean it can't be fixed and doesn't mean that the house isn't fine. Sometimes a buyer says, oh no, there's something wrong with the house. Then it makes them, I don't know, doubt, or it significantly changes their comfortability to move forward with that property. Irrespective of what the repair is, I can't tell you, sometimes it's very small. Sometimes it's super significant. Sometimes some repairs sound really scary that they aren't. So one of the things that you'll hear every once in a while is you'll hear that foundations can have issues where certain things weren't we call tied together, or boomer straps, or sill plates and things like that. Some of that sounds really scary, but it's basically like caulk in a bathtub. Okay, but some buyers go, oh my God, there's a problem with the foundation.
And they freak out.
They freak out. And you're like, it's our job to be like, this is not a significant problem. This is an attachment, okay? Like a case for a cell phone, okay? But if a buyer can't wrap themselves around that, then okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay.
They'll change their mind on the house on that.
Well, if
They might
some,
like Colton anyway.
that or they just can't, it's a bridge too far that someone says something's wrong with the foundation. Or again, I would have yes, they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't been through this. This is an unnormal part of their day. And it could make them really question the property itself. If there's a problem with the foundation, then what else might I be getting into? Does that make sense?
And I'm probably still watching like HGTV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, well, and there's certain things are a really big deal and certain things are not. You know, some drainage situations are a simple fix. Some of them are $100,000 fix. Does that make sense? And I don't want to lose a transaction over a simple fix, but transactions with $100,000 fix can go through as well, believe it or not. As long as you have a willing buyer and a willing seller that are willing to work together to get something done, you're good. But if either one of them isn't willing, either because the idea blows their mind, or sometimes sellers don't have enough money to fix it, there's another problem there.
Right.
Okay, so any of those different situations can come up. But literally when it comes to backup offers, we might be revisiting any of those different things. Typically what happens, you guys, is that buyers lose their financing. Something happens in their job, or there's a contingency that comes up in there's an undisclosed debt, or there's a ratio issue, something like that.
Some debt they did not reveal before.
Or they didn't, or that wasn't factored correctly in their original whatever. A lot of times it has to do with the financing, not the property. Okay, buyers lose their financing. How about if you were an executive at BP when the layoff started and you were in the middle of building a home?
Yeah, I'm sure that happened a lot.
That did happen, okay? All right, so backup offers, you can do a backup offer. I love backup offers. My broker doesn't. I'm just letting you know that. I've won backup offers. And I like to have
Gabe like that?
You know, he can speak to that more himself. I think he would prefer that we just go find them another house. That there's a likelihood that they can DFT. Again, we're still going to renegotiate the contract again, blah, blah, blah. Might be cleaner just to ask the licensee to call you if it DFTs. However, I know from my practice that buyers have won backup offers. I wouldn't hesitate to put someone, and they exist, and you have the right to do so in your business. Does that make sense?
It puts them in the next position, right? It allows them
It's
to be
an
next.
option.
Yeah.
It's an option if the first offer fails. It
It seems
keeps
like a
them.
nice
It keeps them contractually in line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Next.
I
Yeah.
do think for Gabe it could be maybe accountingly a nightmare with earnest money transfers and that type of thing. You know that. I mean, there's stuff, but
There's just stuff to put the earnest money down.
oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, you do understand the difference between an addendum and an amendment. Very important that you know. What do you do with an amendment? Which means what?
Changed it.
Which means you are already in contract and now you've changed something in the contract.
You have
Which
to note
means
it.
the seller has signed and executed all the documents and the buyer has signed and executed all the documents. so that we have a fully fledged contract. An amendment is another layer, and it changes some term, and the buyer and seller must agree. An addendum is to add to a contract when we are initially agreeing
In the beginning, okay.
in the beginning. So in the beginning, there is an addendum. After we have signatures, we have amendments. I need you to know something that is very, very, very important, both for your risk management, for your broker. You could stand a chance of being called into question. All amendments must go to the lender. All amendments must go to the lender. There is never an amendment where you are ever allow someone to convince you not to have that amendment move forward to the lender. If it can't go to the lender, then I can't be doing it. How about that? Is that very simple?
Yes, Bill. Just came back.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Somebody asked Bill,
Mhm.
when they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
You get really mad?
Oh, you just let him put it straight.
Mhm.
And you could look for it.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, they just like, you can't do this, it's long.
It's against the law, period.
Period. We're
Yeah,
sending
and
this
there's,
to the
you
lender.
guys, there's lots and lots and lots of companies out there where people are trying to practice real estate and they have no managers and they have no training.
No one tells them what's wrong
No,
or
no,
right.
no. And they're hearing their other colleagues. And then you're going to hear people even around the water cooler sometimes say, oh, you don't have to do that. All I ask you to do is consider one thing. If you've got the checkbook and you're willing to write the check, then you go listen to any colleague. Go right ahead. But if you understand me when I say decisions you make based on somebody telling you to have lazy business practices, cool.
No.
Okay, just have your checkbook ready. It just costs money.
And jail time possibly.
Well, your errors and emissions insurance has your deductible on your errors and emissions insurance is $10,000 before $1 of coverage kicks in. I'm just asking you a question.
You want to write a check for $10,000.
That's what I'm asking. I particularly don't.
Mm-mm.
So I play on the safe
That's
side.
like deductible.
That's a high, but that's, I
It's
mean,
a deterrent.
malpractice. Those are your malpractice insurance. Okay, so for me, I mean, and I don't listen to other people when they say, oh, Teresa, don't deposit earnest money. I just look at them and I'm like, you don't deposit earnest money. There's been people who've had to write that check who work here. Them earnest monies they're high. I mean, on a $300,000 house, that's $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
No way.
Why would they, because they lost the check or something?
Um,
Or-
Well, and they're afraid to go back to the buyer.
It's embarrassing. That would be so.
Or you,
It would be embarrassing, but I'd
how
still
about
go
this?
back.
Or you have a fraudulent contract because you told the seller that there's earnest money and there's not.
So many ways to mess up.
And it's so silly. You just have a business practice. Are you going to deposit my earnest money check? The answer is always yes. It's a very quick accounting turnaround, you guys. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't cost accounting anything to cut that check back.
I don't want to ride around with my car with this earnest money check.
Well, you have kids. Guess what kids come with?
They chop
snot.
things up,
Yeah,
they spill things.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keep it
Okay,
at the car door.
right?
Yeah, it'll fall off the car.
Do you
Exactly.
feel comfortable? We talked a lot about homeowners associations yesterday and condominiums. I did want to reiterate a couple things. There are so many hybrid homeowners associations out there.
About that today.
There's so many hybrid. There's something called a PUD, a planned unit development.
Mhm.
There are,
With the LL, or what are those called? Somebody was asking me a question yesterday, I thought about,
Just the L.
saying that they don't have to issue a certificate of.
Resale
occupancy?
certificate?
Oh, a resale certificate, because their HOA is classified as something.
it's probably, PUDs have to issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it could be, they might have a self-managed, but if there's a homeowners association by law, I hate to tell you, you have to issue a resale certificate, otherwise you can't sell. And that's by state statute.
You have to have.
Yeah.
No matter what,
Are they a co-op?
it's self-managed.
Okay. What they could be doing is doing what are called illegal transfers, and those do happen. There are some homeowners associations that do not have what's called a legal resale certificate.
And they just do it that way and everyone's kosher with it.
I'm not saying everyone's kosher with it. You probably can't it'd be difficult to get it financed, and oftentimes they don't come up for sale very often.
Because they can't.
They always do this, what's it called again?
Title search?
Not the title search.
And remember, the lender is going to require certain things out of a resale certificate. So if it's owned in common ownership. Now, people have unwound their homeowners associations, but those literally have had to have gone through a legal process. It's expensive to get it done. Now, there's apartments. Remember I told you there were apartments that went condo, and there's condos that have gone apartments.
This is up off of Birch, this subdivision.
Is condo?
It could be an inactive homeowners association. So that happens especially when you have older neighborhoods where people were pitching in for something like, so I'll give you an example. Are you ready? So you guys know Nunaka Valley? Okay, Nunaka Valley had a community well for a really, really long period of time.
In the 50s, 60s?
Even up to the 80s and 90s. Then they all got hooked on to city water services. Now that is an inactive, unissuing homeowners association. But I do believe they actually went through the process to unwind the common interest. Does that make sense?
They had to legally go and unwind it.
Well, but here's the deal. If I have a community well that services everyone, that community well has to be tested. Does that make sense? And there's documents that have to be issued for that in order for a bank to finance, right?
Right, that's what I told her, I go, they issue it so that the bank knows that they don't owe any money.
Well, there's numbers of reasons. They're looking at did you notice how we went through the minutes and how we went through all of those things? They're looking at the reserves. Oh, they're making sure that the reserves people, they're looking to make sure that there's no legal, that the dues aren't scheduled to be from $400 to $700. Special assessments that would affect financing and eligibility.
So just, yeah, okay.
Lisa was not here yesterday. Feels like she was, but she wasn't. You were here in spirit.
Oh, well, we had a great conversation.
What was the
We went
conversation?
through a resale certificate.
Oh, all the minutes, everything. You would have Lisa would have
Oh my
enlivened
God,
us.
I tell you what, all the juice is in the minutes, dude.
If Lisa had been here yesterday, we would all have been yawned filled like we were. I think we would have been more awake. Right?
I can't believe you people were not into it. It's really bugging me.
Everybody was like really blah yesterday.
Oh,
Nobody was into
I would
it.
have been
I
into
was
it.
into it. I'm just always quiet.
Oh, you were
I
here?
She was here.
You were blah. I was
So you went into the resale certificate
We went into
and
every
then you went
single,
through the minutes
every
and
single
listened
section.
I don't think we
all
were
the
as blah
people.
as Teresa says we were, but
It's a boring topic. Let's be realsies. It's a boring topic.
So
When
what's a
there's-
resale
we should
certificate?
hear
That is
yesterday
what, for
when we went
any property that's held in common interest,
They have to have a.
has to have a resale certificate. Now, a zero lot line does not have to have a resale certificate because there's no common interest ownership. Does that make sense? Now, you can have what's called a site condo, where you actually own land and you own from the site in.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it's a site condo in. A boat slip is a site condo.
What's the diff?
A boat slip is a site condo.
oh, but you were using that.
Correct, you own from that or in. Airplane slips, tie downs are sometimes site condos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have
You should never think of it that way.
well, if you put it that way, you start to go, oh, yeah.
It is
okay.
literally that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. There's actually Seclusion Cove is a single family condominium complex
Where is that?
in
Bay Shore?
Southport. Southport.
It's right down by my,
Oh, right, by Marathon.
it's all down around
Yeah,
the Gold Clat area.
Seclusion Cove, it
Mhm.
goes around, and then here's Bay Shore.
Okay, we can't get
Well, Southport and Bay Shore.
Southport, Bay Shore. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's kind of a cool area.
So there's single family homes that are condos.
Because they're in that.
Because that neighborhood was set up as a condo, because a whole bunch of homeowners wanted to have a condo. They wanted the exteriors taken care of,
Okay.
but they didn't want to share any walls.
No walls or chairs. They're really nice, actually.
They're probably $300,000 to $400,000.
Yeah.
Double car garage,
Sounds
3,000
nice.
square feet.
Very nice. And it, some of them back to green space, which is really nice.
Mhm.
When were those built? Do you know, Teresa? What year they came about?
Probably in the 2005.
I'm like, they're new.
Newer.
They're pretty new.
2005 to 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they sell.
Now, there's homes that have
The idea of
CCNRs, neighborhoods.
Right.
Okay, now CCNR, what's the difference between CCNRs and a homeowners association?
homeowners association is full and people to.
They
I don't
have,
know.
they are incorporated, they have bylaws,
Oh, okay.
they're legally created, they fall under the common interest ownership laws of the state. Okay, CCNRs are deed restrictions.
Yeah, that's.
They run with the land.
She's actually the administrator of this homeowners association or the manager. I'll have to get more information.
I can't, find out which one it is.
It's up there. I know it's off Birch. 100 and Birch? 100 something. and Birch.
100th and Birch.
I think that's what she told
Oh,
me.
no,
Is there
are
100th
hundreds
up there?
There are hundreds up there, yes, they are. Yes, it,
And then just
Yeah.
continues, yeah. So there's Birch, and then her
Yeah,
house
yep,
is
yep,
right
yep, yep, yep,
there.
yep.
So west from
behind, kind of behind the zoo, you guys.
Yes.
Property between Diamond H and the zoo, or like on 104th.
And that's
Okay.
not very far from Hillside Elementary because she
Yep.
walks there. to
Yep, yep,
go
yep,
for
yep,
the
yep,
walk.
yep, 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 yep.
Yeah, so that's where she was asked to issue this. And she's never had to do it before because they're some sort of a different kind of an HOA. And I'm like, really? I've never heard
Well,
of that before.
True HOAs would
Yeah.
have been set up with an attorney.
Yes, okay.
Okay,
I'll
and,
find out.
and the real interesting thing is here's the difference. She might be a self-managed association, but in order to sell, they're going to have to come up with a legal resale certificate. Most of them do not have the correct format or all the documents, which is sometimes why a lot of buyers
Mm-hmm.
will not purchase into a self-managed association.
It's when they try to sell it to an idea.
That's probably what it is, because she said she had to go back, try to find the format, try to copy it, but it's
She
been
doesn't
so
know.
long.
And it's still there.
And it has absolute state legal requirements. It's not an option that you don't put something in.
And that's probably what it was. So, because it's self-managed.
Self-managed.
That
And
is
those
exactly it.
are clustered.
They're rogue, right?
Well, they're trying to get away from hiring a licensed property manager to pay the legal and and so here's the thing, probably they haven't had their books audited. They may or may not have collected dues correctly, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
Cluster something for reals. Okay. Okay, so do you feel comfortable about homeowners and condominiums? And do you understand that you can have any kind, a building can be a co-op, which is a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah.
Condominium, common interest ownership. Condominiums can have or not have any number of different things. The older the condominium complex are, typically the higher the dues, the more they cover. The lower the dues, typically the less they cover and the more likely they are what's called a site condo. So if you have a kind of a 2,000 square foot property that's a condominium homeowners association and the dues are $140 a month, that should go for you. You should go ding, 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 ding. It's possibly a site condo where they actually own from the site in. And those are questions when you're talking to the homeowners association you should be looking at. I also want to show you on Flex, you guys. I know everybody sets their Flex up their own way. You have these links down here.
Mhm.
One of the greatest things that you have an opportunity to look at the condo lists. AHFC approved condo list, HUD, FHA HUD list, VA approved list. You need to be checking with these lists. Do not ever just copy over someone else's listing. Verify. Contact the homeowners association. Speak to the property manager. I want to ask some questions before I list a condo. When you get a condo, Some of us will be like, oh, that condominium complex. There's a lot of condos that are hard to sell.
I think mine is.
Yours is? Where's yours?
Independence?
No, Independence Park is not terrible.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not selling. Neither any of the others.
But that has to do with market, time of year, economy, a lot of that kind of stuff. Not that. There are some condominium complexes like the one that Marty's trying to sell that don't allow animals.
Period.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah.
No.
So that could be
That's
that.
tough.
Most humans come with
Animals.
breathing companions. Okay.
Although the
Um,
neighbor next door said that, they kind of turn their on.
You have a small animal. That's one lady told me that. I went, oh,
Well,
that's funny.
I'm not gonna repeat it to
no,
anybody, but
and you have to make sure you sell to someone with the understanding that that is precluded, not that they are going to turn their eye. Does anybody have any problems about ethical conversations? I know we talk a lot about that every single day. We have risk management meetings we invite you to come to. When you have an issue, we want you to come talk to us. You notice I try to be very careful with my words all the time. I invite you to also learn to be very careful with your words. I don't look at things and be like, oh my God, look at that amazing roof. I'm like, oh, look at there's a roof.
There is a room.
There is a roof. Teresa, what do you think about this? I don't think very many things. When I'm showing houses, I don't think a lot. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
Because my opinion,
Fight check.
my opinions could be taken as fact when I don't know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't know the first thing to talk about that stove that you have, that fireplace you have, and I would shut the hell up and be like, I would be like, oh my God, look at the wonder. Here's what I've been told about it. But I'm not talking. I'm being very careful, right?
I know what you know.
What I know.
It's super easy to start.
Good to know. Okay.
Oh, you did do it. That's right. I was
This
going to ask you
weekend,
about
both
that.
days, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about confidentiality for a second. What do you know? What do you guys remember and know? What have we gone over here about confidentiality with your clients?
Permanent forever.
I want you. You probably will have a really easy deal with this because you have HIPAA. So you want to treat buyers and sellers probably like you want to treat their medical records, which are that information is under privacy. The other thing that I invite you to imagine is that even though people will share with you, they'll really open up their lives, and you'll see them in some very amazing and vulnerable times. It is your job to keep it confidential. I hear a lot of things in our office that you also need to be careful about. I have a motivated seller, or my seller's motivated because they're getting divorced kids, or my seller's motivated because they have cancer. I really need you to check your words, because is that information that your seller has given you the permission to talk about? And I'm going to ask you one day, is that permission in writing? Mm-hmm. And by the way, not everyone has even shared with their family their circumstances, though I probably don't want to be the broadcast network for that. Does that make sense? You want to be careful on...
So should I ask it's obvious they moved. People always want to ask why.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, the kids have grown and they got a job.
Didn't they relocate?
They did.
They relocated because of a job.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more trying to say like confidential information that could be construed as blood in the water negative,
Oh,
Yeah. Or that might give someone else an indication of, there's ways we speak to one another that invite lower offers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Divorce, marriage, or sickness.
Death, baby, whatever. Be careful about that. You have to keep people, just like your buyer. I'm also going to tell you, that I have an old school licensee. She and I have just a very vast difference of opinion. Even if I have a buyer who is financially very well established, there is a thought pattern about just because a buyer could pay full price and no terms doesn't mean they want to do that.
That's where you lie.
That's where I lie.
Yeah.
I want a well-qualified buyer to get just as good of a deal as a marginally qualified buyer.
Okay, right.
So I always skew that my buyer can just qualify. They financially can get this house, but they just need a little bit of help. That's where I treat every buyer,
Whether they're wealthy or not.
whether they're wealthy or not.
Okay.
Because I don't think that just because you have money that, you necessarily want to spend it, right? So I have another gal who likes to tell people that they're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars down, but I will tell you that will bite you when it comes to other things in the transaction. So if you tell me that you have a buyer who is, just so terribly well qualified, don't be shocked and amazed when I won't repair a thing for you.
Right.
Because you make it expose them that they
They're
don't.
rolling in dough.
Right, so that's not a smart play as far as I'm concerned. And sellers pick up on that as
Yeah.
well.
I think where you stand on that is more protective and helpful.
Well, I just want you to know, and some sellers have all the ability in the world to do everything, and sometimes we're advising them that they don't have to do everything on a home inspection, if that makes
That's the
sense,
other
right?
side of it.
That's the other side. And there's going to be some sellers who are just going to do everything because that's who they are. Oh, I'm so sorry.
New phone.
New phone. I didn't even know the ringer was on. I totally
Oh, you went and
apologize.
got a new phone. Look at you, $650 later.
The phone was dead.
Oh, you got the other one.
9,000.
Oh. How much is yours? 8?
She got the Cadillac.
Oh my gosh.
She didn't. They got the last year's model or whatever.
Oh. You can write it off.
Yes. Although that
That's how you
doesn't feel good right before Christmas. Can I just tell you? None of it ever feels good. Oh, and I'm just here to tell you, in case you guys have insurance programs on your phones, just so you know, you have to prepay for the phone, and they'll send you out whatever phone they want.
Really?
Well,
In the mail.
in the mail.
And they charge you.
Correct.
It's bad. Insurance is bad.
Really? They always give me a phone for free. They'll just send it to me.
Every how often?
Are you on the
I
Apple
broke
Care?
one this
Are you on
summer.
Apple Care or are you on?
No. I have a Surian, but I broke one this summer and they
This-
just sent me a new one. I came up in a day and then I sent it back. And
Right.
then I broke this one.
Yeah, you
And
can
this
do
was
that, but I couldn't be without a phone for that period of time. Like right now, I couldn't be without a phone.
I got the
bought it.
insurance on my brand new phone.
What company?
And I.
That would have been
dropped
really
it.
helpful to
And
have.
I didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
This is
And
called
they-
LifeLock.
Because there's no certified.
It's a different company.
Interesting.
Buy a new phone.
No, I went to.
It's going to be almost
Batteries
40,
plus
I was going to be
and
almost
screen.
72 hours.
Oh, that's all you did? Oh, okay. And the phone still worked.
Oh, yeah, it's just the screen.
Just the screen.
The other one was
Teresa's
stolen,
phone died.
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was if you're, just so you know, with these new phones with these buttons, if anything happens to this button right here, you're done.
Yeah.
And they
You mean the new home buttons that are flush with the thing?
correct, well, and because they also are, they're a biometric,
Yeah.
you can't do anything with your phone.
Well, can't you just type in your code? If you're-
You can't get to your code if your
Because it
fingerprint
won't
won't
press.
work.
It won't even.
Yeah, I
It won't
tried
even
some of
press.
it yesterday because her home button didn't work and the screen didn't work at all. So and it was still stuck in that beginning phase where when you get a new phone, it says hello or whatever, so you have to type
Why don't you just swipe down, try to click on something, and it'll bring you your code?
It won't do
it.
that.
You didn't even do that.
You couldn't swipe it or anything.
You can't get past, if you can't get past the home button, you can't get at anything in your phone. If anything happens to your home button, you're
What
fucked.
iPhone did was it? 7?
I think so. What, 7 or, yeah. Yes. I think so. So just know that with those, the ones that want your, especially the ones that want your fingerprint, the biometric. If
Mine
that
never
doesn't
works
work,
anymore anyway. I always have to type my code in every time.
you couldn't even get to but you have to press that button to get the code, right?
Yes, you're
You
right.
can't get there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Okay, so confidentiality, do you guys feel good about that? How about showing the AREC? What about the AREC? What do you know?
Get one. Have it
You
done.
should explain it to them.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I like that a lot. They have different options,
They
correct?
have different options.
You have different options as well. Okay, what else? Most important thing for me.
Required.
Don't open the door.
Yeah, before you open the door.
Now, I
Although I
will.
had to open the door to get to the
And
counter.
you know what, that's okay, and
I go,
I
"Before
know,
we see
I want,
this."
but I want you to understand, the sitting down, talking about the house at the listing, that's the AREC moment. The opening the door to show the property, that's the AREC moment. And oh, by the way, if you ever show a rental, you have to have an AREC too. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Use a
lessor,
clipboard.
lessee, buyer, seller.
That's true.
Disclosure and home inspections, the residential real property transfer disclosure statement, I want your buyer to see that before they write an offer. I want you getting that at your listing presentation. And please, for all of our sakes, we like you to upload them to documents. Okay, is that okay? Anybody have any questions about disclosure statements or what you need to do or talk to about that? What happens when your seller doesn't want to disclose? How do you describe the disclosure statement? It's a really smart thing for you to do.
It's a lot.
Well, yes, that's one thing.
Sort of.
But if you tell your seller that if you just have to fill out that disclosure statement, that's a lot like putting on a suit of armor.
Protection.
If you don't put on that suit of armor, you're holding yourself naked, bare naked for the buyer to come back at you. Because I think, interestingly enough, by disclosing, I'm protecting myself. Where sellers think it's exactly the opposite. By disclosing, I'm exposing myself to liability. It's actually the opposite. And can you imagine where a seller would imagine that? If I tell you, then that gets me in trouble. Nope, if you tell me, that keeps me out of trouble. Okay?
They may be afraid it might scare off. the
Correct.
buyer.
But buyers are very practical.
They're gonna, yeah.
And licensees have seen a lot of stuff go down, you guys. So my house, my roof leaked. It leaked and I got it fixed. Here's the company that fixed it. Oh, guess what a buyer says? Oh, great. Okay. That shows me that you're a good homeowner.
You fixed it.
Okay, now it leaked 5 years later. It starts to leak again. Not my problem. I told you it leaked. I had it fixed. I showed you the invoice. They're a licensed bonded contractor. Pound sand. Okay. Now I don't owe you a new roof. Had I not disclosed that leak, had I not disclosed that fix, now I'm on the hook for you for a new roof.
Later. Right.
Okay,
I
so
don't know how that whole Cammie's first transaction
that's
going.
really, that's
She's out of it, but I
Well,
just
and that's
wonder.
oh, well, she is, but she's obviously, they paid cash for the property. And the additional thing is it was a listing, the listing licensee is the owner's mom and who does flips. Just add that in. Okay.
Sounds a little
No, it's not. It's not. Gabe Steffen does flips. Larry M does flips.
No,
They're
the
not.
fact that there was a leak and then that whole electrical thing.
You know, here's the deal. Really, really, let's always treat sellers like they're innocent until we can prove them guilty. But it could have been something completely innocent. Okay, honestly.
You're right.
You know, unfortunately, innocent until proven guilty, even buyers and sellers. You know,
I could really do that with my family member.
right, right. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent. Okay, disclosure and home inspection. So when do you get the home inspection? That is your next dance move after you have an offer complete, correct? Okay. I like you to use ASHI home inspectors. Talk to your friends about who they like and who they don't like as home inspectors. Why do I want you to do that?
Some home inspectors freak people out
Correct.
unnecessarily.
Correct.
They tell them their foundation is bunk when it's not.
Not necessarily that. There's certain home inspectors that not all of us appreciate. Also, I would tell you to kind of give somebody a chance. You might like them very much. A lot of us actually go on report, if you want to know the truth. We like a report structure.
It's easy.
It's easy to come up with. It's easy to come up with the repairs. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you that. Also, if your seller has they call it a walk-around home inspection or they have a pre-home inspection, that is disclosable. That totally pisses me off when licensees have their seller do a pre-home inspection and they don't supply that to us as part of the disclosure. That will get you in trouble. Okay?
Why would they not disclose it?
Because they're trying to do the work prior to getting the house on the market. There's nothing wrong with doing work about getting the house on the market. You just need to disclose it.
They're just forgetting to do it?
Why? Because the disclosure statement says that if there's any reports or any documentation written on the house within the last 5 years, it must be disclosed.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so there you go.
So that, would you have to include findings to that report?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So does it make sense to you that a home inspection is actually part of the disclosure statement?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why.
Okay.
Okay, and let me show you so you can see where it says it, so you know. So right here, sorry. To the best of your knowledge, has the property been inspected by an engineer or home inspector in the last 5 years?
Okay.
That answer is a yes, then I need to provide the document. Okay.
So people just forget to do that
No,
one, or they purposely
No,
leave it out, or?
correct. So do you guys remember that while we were in the house on Ocean View, I said there's been a home inspection done on this property? It was right there in the office,
Okay.
okay? So Ricky asked for that document 14 times. The listing licensee said they did not have a home inspection on the property. She finally said, we saw it in the property. All of a sudden, oh, wow, I didn't know that.
But they did know.
I can't say yes, no, or indifferent. I mean,
So
But-
Ricky finally told him that you saw it?
but
We
I
saw
don't
it.
know. I think
Somehow?
I think she pressed enough. I can't answer because
Yeah.
she's not here. I don't know if she actually told her, hey, we saw a home inspection in the office, or if she said, would you please ask your seller? And the seller was like, oh, yes, I did have a home inspector go through the property.
But it wasn't in the disclosure.
It was not in the disclosure statement, nor did the listing licensee disclose.
Did you get hold of it?
Mhm.
And it's fine.
Actually, it would be interesting. Maybe, I'll bring it out next week. There's some issues.
That's the only reason I could think why they wouldn't share it, because if it was a really nice one.
Why would you hide it?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Because there's some.
There are some licensees who perceive that if you have a seller has a home inspection done prior to putting the house on the market, that is non-disclosable.
You
That
know
is
what,
not correct.
after working with Kathy and seeing how Kathy does stuff, this just boggles my mind.
Well, not everyone has their licensees operate and in the same way. That's okay. I mean, I'm just telling you, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
buy that.
Okay,
I'm not
Right.
gonna buy that.
by that.
I'm not
That's
gonna.
why
we're not gonna
everybody
love-
loves to work with Jeff.
Right, well, I'm just telling you, we're not gonna do that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
If you know that there's been something done. Now, if you didn't ask your seller if they had a home inspection done, I did want to tell you that the owner of the property I told you was a lender. Now, it's completely feasible, kiddos, that he went and had a home inspector do it and didn't tell his listing licensee.
Okay.
There is the theory, that is, again, remember, trust but verify. There is the possibility that he did that, knowing that he was going to get his property put on the market, knowing that he was going to get a home inspection, and start working on some of the items. That's totally possible.
It's so easy
And
to get on a
didn't
witch
tell his
hunt,
home
you know.
inspector. And by the way, I bet one of the questions you don't ask when you sit down with your sellers is, have you had your house inspected within the last 5 years? That's not a typical question to ask, but maybe we should. And they're filling it out on the disclosure statement anyway, so if that answer is yes, then I want to get a copy of it, so I have it to disclose, right?
To use.
Title reports, do you feel comfortable about title reports? We normally, when we go to the listing, we're going to pull what's called a property profile, and then after the offer is accepted, we're going to immediately, and I suggest to you, immediately open title, immediately open title, immediately open title. Once you get a signed contract. Don't worry about waiting for the home inspection to be done. Just open up title.
Okay.
There is a cancellation fee of $250. None of the title companies charge it or collect it. They may actually invoice you because they have to by law, but the seller doesn't have to pay it. I want you to know that locally.
So don't be afraid to open.
Don't be
title.
afraid to open title. Don't be afraid to open title. Don't be afraid to
What do you
open
mean
title.
by open title again?
As soon as a property has been, the offer has been accepted, we have to open up a title policy report at a title company in order to get the preliminary commitment for title, that now looks at the buyer and the property.
Do you usually email the title company, or do
You can
call
do
them?
title orders at alieska.com, or you can contact whatever title company, especially since you may not know which one it is.
Right. Because you want it in writing.
I love to do things via email so that I have confirmation that they were done. The more you get into this business, the more you're going to rely on email so that you can show sellers, you can show buyers, this is the date I ordered that, this is the date I ordered this.
It's more professional.
Some of you will take
And you can
copious.
copy the other real.
Sure, yes, you could also do that.
That makes sense.
CCNRs, you understand those. Resale certificates, you understand those. A resale certificate is also on a new construction is known as a public offering statement. It's the same thing as a resale certificate. Just somebody is really. Hi, Teresa. I'm in the middle of a class. Can I help you? Okay, can you please take my number off? Bye-bye. That was an anti-drug campaign.
How did you get your number?
I don't know, but that was 6 phone calls were all right in a row from an unknown number, which gave me the,
800 number?
no, unknown number, but it gave me like, it kept ringing.
Yeah. So then you're worried about
So I was like, oh my God, it's unknown. Is that one of my kids or something? Sorry, I apologize for that. Okay, zoning. What do you know about zoning?
It's complicated.
It's complicated. There are certain things that can be built with certain kinds of zoning. Certain people are looking for certain kinds of zoning. When I'm doing a lot, I really care about the zoning, right? Because I want to know what I can put on a piece of property. You are not zoning experts. We don't expect you to be. Where do you go to talk to people about being zoning experts?
MOA,
Good, where?
development,
The building department.
out in Elmore.
That's on Elmore, okay? You might contact people via phone or email first. That's okay.
What's the
They're
name of the
very,
organization?
very receptive and they're very easy to talk to.
What's the name of the organization?
Municipality of Anchorage,
Okay.
Building Department. Come and talk to senior licensees or managers when you get into zoning issues.
That includes you.
Sure, yes, absolutely. And then be very careful about taking our zoning has gone through a complete and total rewrite. It's called Title 21. If you're talking to an older licensee, you might hear they're not old wives' tales, but they're how things used to be done. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Zoning has changed.
When did Title 21 come in?
Title 21 has been approved for the last couple years, but there are people who are trying to grandfather in and out of it, just so you know.
Right, because it's so extensive.
So extensive. We did a total rewrite of our use, okay? Land use. It is very, there are certain things that are very controversial. Some people are looking for R6 properties. R6 properties are horse properties. Some people are looking for R2M for multifamily. So if you have somebody who's looking for a multifamily structure, or also be very careful about, I hear licensees say this all the time. Oh, well, you could build this on that lot. Could you? Could you really? Be careful about saying stuff like that. Be careful about saying that you can put there's a single family home that you could put a garage on. Can you? There are some city lots, kiddos, that have 2,000 square feet homes on 4,000 square foot lots. I'm going to say it one more time. A 4,000 square foot lot has a 2,000 square foot house on it. They're vertical. They're vertical. They're called patio homes.
Okay.
You know patio homes?
I think mine is a patio home. Is yours a patio home?
No, mine is not a patio home. I wish mine was a patio home.
What does that mean exactly?
Patio home means the garage is down below and the living is up. Okay, but they're on narrow lots of about 4,000 square feet. They're about a 2,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Patio homes.
Okay, mine is a patio home.
Okay.
Sounds like it.
But don't tell somebody that they can add a garage or they can add an outbuilding or don't tell people what they can build on a property.
Unless you really know.
Unless you've done some research. I like to be the source of information. I do not like to tell people what they can build on lots. There is changes going on.
I know when Marty when she had the listing downtown, she did her homework
Mhm.
and found out it was zoned for duplex. So
That little
she-
house?
Yeah.
727 M Street?
Yeah.
That was a cool little place.
That was cool, but
Yeah.
they could do a duplex, but
Correct.
she did the research.
Because that's
Designation for that.
Correct.
Big yard.
correct.
That was pretty cool
Yep.
information.
Yes.
for selling.
But I mean, I don't know why most people are not going to buy it and do that. Does that make sense? I'm talking about more.
It's true. It's
I'm talking about
huge.
more lots. Do
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? When you get into, or when people tell you that, oh, you want to buy this because you can put a fourplex on it. Again, here's what I want you to always know. Trust, but verify.
I thought you were going to say, trust no one.
No, trust, but verify. Trust, but verify. If a licensee tells you that you can do this on a lot, there's a lot of people who really know their stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's been changed. So, for example, my family wanted to change zoning on a property. We had an R6 lot on O'Malley Road. And in theoretically, that zoning could have been changed until we went to the municipality and they said, there's this rule over here that says you cannot change the zoning. Oh, okay.
So who'd you have to end up selling to? You had to sell to a multi.
No, we were able to subdivide, but we would have subdivided into smaller lots. We could not subdivide into smaller lots.
You were not able to.
Not able to because of a very obscure
I would be interested to
It,
see this
it was in
property.
Title 21, but it wasn't in the zoning regs. Does that make sense?
Oh, Title 21 was already in effect at that point.
It is in effect, yeah.
But when
Yeah,
you guys were
yes,
selling
yes,
property
yes.
at that point.
But long story short, we could only change zoning if another adjacent property owner had also changed zoning. None of them had, so we couldn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, we know about it.
Or if there was another like zoning in the area, which there was not.
To set a precedent.
Correct.
Isn't that weird how that has to be
But,
done?
but,
Yeah.
but long story short, that wasn't in the little R6 blah, 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 blah. But we asked a question, could we change the zoning? What would the process be? What would it take? What would it cost? No, here you go. Okay. But I couldn't have known that just by reading the, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. What do you know about environmental issues with properties?
Good luck.
No.
Problem.
No. Lots of properties have environmental problems.
Yep.
A lot of environmental problems we don't even look at. I'm gonna talk to you right now. We have a lot of radon gas in Alaska. We don't test for it, for the most part.
Diesel fuel and other stuff under
Well,
the ground.
underground storage tanks.
Yep,
Uh,
tanks.
At my house, when I was growing up, kids, my dad, we pumped our own gas
At your home.
at my house.
You
You're
filled up your
still
own
alive.
jalopy.
We did too in Colorado. And we had one of those tanks and it was set up on these little.
Yeah, you see them out in rural areas, right? Yeah. My mom grew up in a ranch.
So just because something
It is
happened
everything.
does not mean it's terrible, okay? But know that,
There's gonna be gas in the ground.
well, maybe not. Maybe not.
Might be gone already.
Okay, and a lot of underground storage tanks, when you get properties built that were built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and sometimes even in the early 70s, they may have been heated with fuel oil. You're not going to see it very often, but you will see a oil converted to gas heating system somewhere, somehow. They're in Turnagain, they're in downtown Anchorage, they're in Spenard, they're in City View, they're in Nanaca Valley, they're all over the place. Turnagain, I mean, you're going to see some weird stuff in old
Built in the
Anchorage.
50s. Yeah.
Mhm.
These houses built in the 50s. You see these weird pipes coming out of the ground.
Could
What
be,
is that?
what the hell is that, right?
Yeah, it's old.
So if
oil
there is
heating.
anything that's outside your area of expertise, and I'm just here to venture to say that most areas in environmental are outside of our area of expertise, come talk to us. I hate when somebody goes, oh my God, we need a mold inspection in this house, and they have little dudes in a spacesuit go and spray some bleach on a roof in a bathroom. That
Probably
pisses
do.
me off.
Cost them $500.
Right, but here's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, but I mean, if you are getting like weird mold in a house, there's something going on. And typically if a house is ever flooded, it's gonna have a mold issue, and a lot of folks will choose not to purchase that property. Does that make sense?
Is there much mold in Anchorage in certain pockets of town or?
There is mold in this room, there's mold on your skin,
Oh, yeah.
so let me help you out. So that's a
Right.
subjective versus objective. I can't tell you that there's an area of town that suffers from mold. No.
Isn't there a certain kind of mold that's just like
Black
very-
mold.
Is the black mold.
And pink.
And
Pink.
pink.
Pink one.
Oh, no, the pink slimy stuff. Yeah. I know that
You
sounds.
see it on the photos.
Yeah.
The black mold there is a toxin in black mold. But to my knowledge, there has been 2 cases of black mold in Alaska, truly, and they both were on properties that had pipes burst and had flooded. Okay, and somebody had tried to cover it up. Okay, so neither circumstance are you probably going to run into that.
So you think it's blown up more than it
I think some people panic.
perceived that it's worse than it is.
Right, and then I don't know if anybody's ever been through Europe. I was in an area of France where the walls were mold, and everybody walked around, just fine and
No
like
one's falling over,
like
right?
lived to talk about
They
it.
don't sue everybody.
Well, I'm just saying, but there you go.
That's true.
Okay, do you feel comfortable doing a CMA?
Yes.
You feel comfortable doing a CMA? You're always going to come up with weird properties. What do you do when you come up with a weird property?
expand your search.
Yep, and if I can only tell you one thing, I really think it's smart to go get as many properties as you possibly can and go small and use a lot less than you use, okay? I sometimes only have 2 delimiting factors, you know? One car garage might be one.
Right.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
square feet.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but one or two little like delimiting factors.
Yeah.
You guys start doing 3-bedroom to 3-bedroom, 1,700 square feet to 1,800 square feet, and you're like, why can't I come up with comps? And I'm like, you're too small. Get bigger. And then you can always take things off, right? You can always take things off. It's hard to go back and add. I also love to use the grid numbers. Come talk to me about grid numbers. If you like, I do it every day, so you'll walk away from it, forget how to do it. I remember how to do it. Record keeping. You must keep all of your documents for 3 years. You must keep all of your documents for 3 years. You must keep all of your documents for 3 years. Okay? Does anybody feel uncomfortable showing properties or doing CMAs? You know how to open up a lockbox. You know how to get in. Okay, what's some of the realtor considered not convenient, courtesies? What's realtor courtesy? A couple things.
If you find things that are amiss in the house, fix them and let the guy know.
If you can fix them, let them know. Call somebody and let them know.
Yeah.
Immediately let some, like, you know, you let the cat out. Just don't kill yourself. Just call somebody and let them know. Okay. Something's broken in the house. You found out. Call somebody and let them know.
The alarm is going off when you walk in.
The alarm's going off. Call somebody and let them know. What do I tell you if you smell natural gas?
Get out.
Get out. Get out. Treat it like the house is on fire. Okay. Get yourself and get them out.
And meth too, right? You smell meth.
Well, I don't know what meth smells like, but
I don't know either.
Okay.
But didn't you tell us since meth
Mhm.
has been in play and just get out of there?
There would be if it obviously looks like a chemistry experiment with Sudafed tablets, some tubing, and if there's any kind of it's a sticky residue, almost like sap, but it would be multicolored. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
Well,
Okay.
these Book folks told us it smells like extreme cat pee.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Remember that lady we went to
Elise
the
Buchholz.
first thing back in August?
Yeah, I do not know. I can neither confirm nor deny.
She's
I
out
don't
in the valley.
I
so
don't
she might
know. I don't know that I've ever been in but don't know. And by the way, don't expect you could have a meth lab being run out of a multi-million-dollar home.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with socioeconomic. What's that?
Pay for it.
Maybe.
And they escalated.
The problem is it's caustic and explosive, and it has health issues for people that you don't know the extent of. Buyers, are you going to make a business decision to put buyers under buyers representation agreements? That's your decision. But if you do, can I make a suggestion? You probably need to have similar business practices with every client. Does that make sense? Courts look for that, just if you want to know, just so you know. Closing process. What do you do when it comes time to start closing your transaction? Okay, we have a review process. Please write this down. Every transaction must be reviewed by law prior to going to closing. Documents must be uploaded into our document management system called SkySlope.
Yeah.
And the gentleman who reviews our contracts is an associate broker hired by Jack White. His name is Jim Griven.
He's very good.
And he is, just so you know, he oftentimes will point out things if you have questions. He's very approachable. Okay. So you can go ask questions. Okay, it's totally fine.
He's pretty nice in his comments.
Yes.
When you mess up or
He's
forget
helpful.
something,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you need the initials, not just a checkbox on that AREC.
Okay.
I have not forgotten since.
Good. How about so prior to going to your closing, every buyer needs to have a final walkthrough. Every buyer needs to have a final walkthrough. As a contingency to your contract, you are able to have a final walkthrough. It's already written into your contract. So you don't have to, as a term in your offer, write in that your buyer gets a final walkthrough.
So the final walkthrough has to happen prior to closing?
I want you giving your buyer a final walkthrough before you head to the title company. Could be the night before, it could be the day before, it could be the morning of. I always like you, if possible, I want you getting a final walkthrough. I want there to be enough airspace between the seller occupied property and your buyer getting a final walkthrough. Oftentimes on properties that were occupied, not vacant, there's going to be an issue that comes up. I'd like you to have an opportunity to resolve it before you get to the closing table. It's not unusual, you guys, for when a seller is having, even if they have a professional moving company, a professional moving company can make a ding, or they can remove a rug and you could see something somewhere. That's going to be a really big deal to your buyer before they get in. I want you to think about arranging keys, arranging door openers, okay? I want you to have a good, clean, wonderful transmission of documents and things. Does that make sense? I don't want buyers getting upset if we can at all help it. And sometimes you can't help it. You don't understand what their trigger is.
Might be something unrelated, right?
Hopefully, right? But it is absolutely everywhere in the country. It's not here that people close. You get keys on recording. That's the next business day that the title company and the recorder's office is recording.
Some do things that.
Absolutely. We are trying, just so you know, we are trying to move, title companies are trying to move to what's called e-recording.
Right.
And I think someday we'll record it at closing. I think someday that's my,
Same day recording.
like when you sign documents, they'll record it. I think someday they'll do that, but it's not today. Literally, there's a person who takes all of those files, hands them down to the recording office, stands in line and records them one at a time.
That's why they need that day.
Correct.
Okay, we're not there
Okay.
yet.
Correct. And then you should expect a call from the title company normally by noon, and you will hear the words, "You have clearance,"
Or you have to.
or "You have recorded." But it's truly called clearance, just so you and I know.
Sounds very FBI, you have clearance.
You have clearance. Clearance to close.
Okay.
They've
does that mean?
cleared title. That means the title went from seller. Now it has, literally, when you get the title changed to your car and you get to watch it spit out at the DMV, that's what it is. They just literally changed the title from the previous seller to the new
Okay.
seller.
The buyer has the title now,
Correct.
and now they can get the keys.
Now
at that
it
And at that point, they can
belongs
get the
to
key.
them.
point.
It
At
belongs-
that point, they can
Yes,
get the
it
key.
belongs
Okay.
to them.
No sooner than that.
No, here's what I'm saying. If you and the listing licensee or the listing license, there are some listing licensees and there are some sellers who will allow, once a buyer closes, to get the keys and have access to the house. Most of us won't let you do that.
I don't think
Houses
that-
have burned down overnight, you guys.
Yeah, no.
Pipes have burst overnight. But buyers moving into the property during the night, left the garage door open, burst the pipes. Okay? So a lot of sellers will not allow someone to
Heaters
have
will go out the same day you
Yes.
close.
Yes.
That's what happened to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
hot water heaters will let go. Yeah.
It's
So
the same thing.
Actually, not the heater, it's the boiler.
how about somebody, have you seen those pictures of cars that have gone through, there was on Independence Park, there was a car with a drunk kid driver that drove through a house. That house was for sale. It was in the middle of a transaction.
Is it really?
Yes, it
Nobody
was.
in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, there was, it was occupied.
That's awful.
Okay, so stuff happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Lending. What do you know about lending? Who's the lender? Are we lenders?
No.
We know a lot about lending. I'm going to tell you there's magic in one thing. Know where money is. There's a lot of places where money is that you don't know about. There's a lot of reasons why people are more successful with a lot more buyers than you are, because they know of more places to go to get money,
Get alone.
to get a loan. You have to go beyond just mortgage companies. There's banks. A lot of people don't go to banks anymore. Banks still lend money. Credit unions lend money. Insurance pension funds lend money. National Bank of Mom and Dad lends money. Cook Inlet Housing Corporation lends money. Alaska Housing Finance Corporation is a add-on that lends money. There's a lot of money out there. You have to know where it is. It is not just at a mortgage company. You have to know that different companies might be offering a different deal. For example, for about, 3 years, if you were a non-owner occupant purchasing a fourplex, you have to have 25% down. Until Alaska USA Mortgage Company offered a 10% down program.
You could do that.
That's the,
And people can bring new programs into play, and they can take old programs out anytime they want to. Did you know that a bank can structure any loan any way that they want to? A bank construction, if they loan their own money, does this make sense to you? If I'm in a mortgage company, I'm actually taking money out of the money supply, and it all has to be federally regulated. If I'm a bank, I can make any loan I want to. We can make up terms. Does that make sense? Okay. So sometimes you guys are calling the mortgage company of FNBA, where I may be talking to a personal banker. You get the difference? Believe it or not, some C-suite employees have a loan program through their job. So if I work for Doyon, no, that's not the right way. Like CH2M Hill might allow a C-suite employee to have a loan from CH2M Hill as part of their benefits employee C-suite package.
does Costco do loan sales?
Costco is trying to get into, Alaska Airlines is trying to get into the lending business. Costco is trying to get into the lending business. They're working with probably the Money Store or Quicken.
Oh, that's right, Quicken.
Okay. The Rocket Mortgage, if people,
I've seen advertisement on
the
that.
Rocket Mortgage is pretty cool.
Would you do it?
I would do it in a minute. USAA, some people use USAA. There's many, many, many places to get loans. If you have a BIA card, anybody know what a BIA card? Bureau of Indian Affairs, you're able to use a loan program called a HUD 184.
Just for Indians?
Just for anyone who has a Bureau of Indian Affairs card, or if you have a share in a Native corporation.
This is the HUD.
184, low down payment program to help Indian Americans get into the home buying process.
Indian Americans?
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Right? I wish. How about if you want to move to the valley and you buy in the rural area, which is Homer, you can get a zero down program.
Homer is considered rural still?
Ag.
Okay.
So you guys need to, lending is a really, really fascinating, transformative thing. If you save me $1, you're my best friend forever. You save me $1, you're my best friend forever. Okay, so if you know where money is, you'll be able to do transactions when other people cannot. Be willing to move a loan. I've moved lots of loans before. This guy can't do it. Let's go see if this guy can. This guy can't do it. Let's go if that can. Now, I will start to tell you something that I think is very important. If you start to perceive that someone is giving your client bad advice,
A loan officer, perhaps?
maybe, or you're going to a loan, you just went to a straight up mortgage company who just denied someone, and now you're in the bunny foo-foo trails, and you're at a check cashing company who's offering them money. May I suggest that might not be a transaction I want to get involved in? Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
How do you talk them out of it nicely? Is there a nice way to say, hey, you don't want to do this?
Well, yes and no. Come talk to us about the situation. Sometimes, believe it or not, I want to be careful. There's a lot of illegal activities going on. I want you to stay away from that. I want your buyers to stay away from that. That's just, if people don't qualify, they don't qualify. Can I just, like, at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't qualify, they don't qualify. Okay. I want to talk to you for a minute about what's called seasoning money. Does anybody remember when I talked to you about seasoning money?
Yeah.
Okay.
90 days?
90 days,
90 days.
3 months. Okay. And FYI, totally legit. There's nothing, you're not committing loan fraud by doing this, okay?
Oh, you're being very good, actually.
Well, you're knowing how we used to have to get people qualified.
Right.
Okay, so if mom and dad, or if they can get a gift fund, sits in a bank for 90 days, I don't have to prove where the money comes from. Okay, grandma and grandpa, they can take over, mom and dad can take over, can have financing put into their name, kids can still make the payments. It comes off their credit report. Does that make sense? They will have they can expand the amount of money that they can borrow. Okay, people who are paid on a 1099, please do not show them houses if they don't have their tax returns done. A lot of people who operate businesses or get paid on 1099s don't do their taxes.
Yeah, we're 1099 people now.
Correct? Correct. So remember, they need 2 years of tax returns in order to do
Two only.
2 years of tax returns. And I think it's canceled next week and the week after. Yes, but not till 2. Not till 2. It's Thanksgiving week and the following. Not today.
Okay, I misunderstood that too.
Well, that's okay. I'm sorry if we confused anybody.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's coming up on Thanksgiving. Everything, the wheels are coming off of everybody's bus right now.
Yeah. You're teaching at 2:00 today,
Mhm.
right after the risk management, or you have a break?
No, yeah. Yes, because I have to go run and print materials. Yes, I do. Can you get internet loans?
Sure.
Well, Rocket.
Yeah, Quicken. I will tell you, I will tell you that they're a legit lending company and they're doing a lot of business. They're doing a lot of business in Alaska.
Oh, they are.
They really are. Yep, so don't.
Lower 48ers aren't shy to do that. They move up here and they're used to it.
No, and people like this. They're a I can tell you, they're a quality lender. They do a lot of business here. So they're at least one internet lender that people feel comfortable with, if that makes sense. Come on in, guys. Hello. How many houses are you going to be willing to show before you get a buyer pre-qualified?
0.
You're going to say 0. I might do 1.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Condos.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
to get her, so that
You
when
know
she
what?
does get qualified, she'll come back.
Here's what I would tell you. If I don't have any business going on at all, maybe more. If I have a lot of business going on, I get real,
Oh, yeah.
but if I'm, you start to really take care of your time,
Street from me,
right?
you know.
But I would also tell you, please remember this: if I have my home on the market, and if I have to leave in order for you to show it, and if that buyer has not been pre-qualified, I don't want them stepping in my home. I need you to know that's realtor courtesy as well. We talked about realtor. Let's go back to realtor courtesy. When you guys go and show a home, you are supposed to leave your card on the countertop. That is realtor courtesy. Did we tell you this?
But I see it.
Yes. Leave
You
your
do it? You do it now? I do.
yeah. Leave your business
Especially
card.
since.
Yeah. Leave your
Yeah,
business
that is-
card on the countertop. Okay.
No excuses.
Okay. And then next weekend we're going to talk about negotiations quite extensively, and we're going to talk about CDs and closing statements. Okay. Well, not next week, but the week after.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And next week, we're all not going to be.
We're all not going to be here and I will not be in the office next week
At all.
at all. I'm teaching pre-licensing this weekend. Monday and Tuesday, I'm off. I'm taking Wednesday off, and Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I'm taking Friday off, and I want you to as well. I will tell you that if you choose to work next week, there are buyers and sellers who are desperately in need of your help, and they're pretty darn serious buyers and sellers during a holiday. So they're very, very serious, okay? There are some licensees that this is what they kind of consider free pickings, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where a lot of people don't work,
gone.
are gone and go on vacation, and there's a lot of business that gets transacted and can be picked up during the rest of the holidays. Does that make sense? Okay, guys, go grab your pizza and your... I felt like that was a great review.
That was really nice. It was good. We went through a lot. You're on fire, Teresa.
Well, the other thing we will do before we get out of here is I will go through that that needs analysis that we did the very first day, that I'll do the needs analysis the very last day.
You were the best teacher.
What are you saying? You're a teacher yourself.
You know what? Be a teacher.
Thank you.
I remember how hard you said the same thing. Everybody wants you.
I like this so good.
And you're good at giving people their little hats.
I try my hardest.
Everybody is only wanting you, and there are many of us. Right?
Right.
You feel like a rock star, but really, you're just tired.
Right? I must feel like I have all these other girlfriends we talk about. I'm like, well, I teach adults, and they're like, well, we teach children. I'm like, I don't know.
Adults. It's adults would be harder.
It's interesting.
They
for
want
sure.
more ego.
Yeah.
You know, there's more of that going on. Kids don't care. They don't need their ego patted as much.
Well, I think they have enough of that as well.
Maybe.
Hello, love. I'm good. Thank you.
Sneak out.
Well, my daughter went, so there was, I taught her 2 lessons in class, and there was 4 people who were going. Of course, did. And then I went home and I started going, like, oh, I'm still hot. Like, still hot.
Hey, pickle.
Headache.
How much fever did you have?
102. I'm feverific.